the most recent, and they had a drought before that. Their drought was early like that also in early 2000. So this should be a good one. I think Lewiston has had the upper hand this year. I think Gaston Fuchsa has kept the Saints in the games. Their key will be they need to skate fast. They've got some pretty fast skaters. They need to use that center ice to their advantage for transition, and they need to stay out of the penalty box. I think Lewiston's power play has been very good, and Fuchsa can only hold them off just so long if they put themselves in the box too much.
Fuchsa, of course, has done a very outstanding job for the St. Thomas Saints, helping lead them with 5 of their 6 shutouts earned this season. Probably none bigger than that one to get them to this game. He's had some very good contests against the Lewiston Blue Devils. Twice in the regular season, these two teams have faced each other. A 3-1 and 3-2 victory over the span of a couple of weeks for the Lewiston Blue Devils. But the Saints have made it tough on them, tough to score, and they'll be hoping that they can go the next step further and pick up the victory that will see them advance to the state title game for the first time since 2015. We'll break things down for you a little bit more when we return on our pregame show. But first, we'll step aside and take a 2-minute break. You are watching coverage of the MPA Boys North Regional Final in ice hockey on MBR.org and listening to it on 105.5 Maine's Big Z. Well, quite the long wait for both these teams to get set to battle it out here, with St. Thomas and Lewiston having to wait through a double overtime matchup in the South Class A Regional Championship, with Biddeford eventually triumphing 6-5 in overtime over the #1 seed, the Chevrolet Stags. So we will see the Tigers take on one of these two teams on Saturday in the state title game. Both these teams very familiar with the Tigers, having seen them twice apiece in the regular season. So should be a good matchup, whoever moves on. But very late start, pushing us back more than an hour past our scheduled puck drop of 8 o'clock. And these two teams having to wait in the locker room and just finally getting that chance to go through the warm-up right now, Dave. That can sometimes have an impact on things, especially when you have that nervous energy that you have to put up with and sit still, hope that you will finally be ready when you finally find out what time you're going to be starting.
Yeah, you either do something in the locker room to take their mind off it, some crazy music or whatever, but this is hardest on the coach, I believe, because you want things to be as routine as possible, and you have your sights set on how long before you want them to get the skates on, how long before you want, and you when it's overtime, you don't know if overtime's going to last 30 seconds or 30 minutes. You have no idea. So as a coach, I would hate to think that I didn't know approximately when it was going to start and so on. But it's the same for both teams. They're a minute and 50 seconds away from introductions and whatever, so we're close. And I know both teams are going to be anxious to get started. It's a rivalry game, which makes it even a little more intense. And I think the team that can come out and get started will probably hold them in good stead, because you don't want to fall behind in this rivalry game and then try to catch up.
We've seen it very tough for St. Dom's to try and come from behind when they've been down to this Lewiston squad that can shut teams down defensively as much as they get props for their offensive prowess. And as we get closer to the start of introductions, let's introduce you to both teams a little bit more in depth. St. Dom's Saints, the number 3 seed out of the North region coming in. They had to knock off the co-op team of Levitt, Grey New Gloucester, and Poland with a 5-1 victory, 6-1, to be able to get through the first round. That's when they faced off against Edward Little and had that shutout victory to get them to this game. 10-8-2 their record overall this season, and they have seen Lewiston twice, hoping that they'll be able to knock them off. Coached by Rob Parker. He took over from Steve Willett a couple seasons ago now in his 3rd year, in a team that reached the Class A semis last year before their run was ended by this Lewiston squad. On the other end of the ice, the Lewiston Blue Devils, the team that everyone has circled on their schedules and has been that way for the last couple seasons. Blue Devils 2 losses in the regular season, 1 more than a year ago. They're hoping that's as many as they will suffer on their way to a 3rd straight title, having won it in 2016 and again last year in 2017. But a very different team this year, losing so many players from those 2 championship squads. This would be an impressive victory in its own right for head coach Jamie Bello if he can pull this one out for them. The last time there was a 3-peat champion, that was Lewiston back in 1982 through 1984. Blue Devils come in at 17-2, having lost once in this building and none in their last 5 games. Only losses on the year coming. One of them to that Chevre squad, one of them to Falmouth. So there are no teams left still alive that they have not defeated. Blue Devils dressed in the home whites as the higher seed, the number 1 in Class A North. While on the other side, it's the road black and white uniforms for the Saints of St. Dominic Academy.
The Blue Devils, they drew a bye that first round, and then, as you said, they beat Bangor 5-2 to get to this game, and they looked about like they've looked all year. Pretty solid, good power play, good skating group, and if they stay out of the penalty box, they'll be tough to beat.
Very good puck movement that they have, and they still have quite a few weapons that can cause problems, even without Travis A. Roy winner Jeremy Rancourt. They lost Cole Willett, Joe and Nick Bisson, Alex Rivet, Brad McKellen, Sam Story, Cody Doyon, Jacob Strout, and Jean-Luc Dosti. All those players gone, all that experience gone, and while there are still a ton of upperclassmen in their lineup, this is still kind of new territory for the majority of players. They'll be looking to rely on Sam Frechette, 12 goals, 13 assists, second on the team with 25 points, and their junior captain, Alex Robert, who led the way with 41 points, as well as Travis A. Roy Award finalist this year, their senior defensive captain, Ryan Bossy, to help guide them through. St. Dominic going through the introduction of their starting lineup. Such a young squad, 6 freshmen, 6 sophomores, only 1 senior. But they have some very skilled players in their own right. Gaston Fuchsa leads that category, the young foreign exchange student out of the Czech Republic, who has been a revelation in between the pipes for this team. If he can see it, he can stop it, goes the mantra. And they expect him to be very, very tough to beat. On defense, Michael Silly and Ben Goslin anchor a pretty good unit. Jack Willett, the freshman, though, will see plenty of ice time as he has really stepped up. Jacob Lewis will be a good scoring threat as well with his 6 assists. Zach Pelletier, 14 assists, but it'll be senior captain Mac Pelletier, who may be relied on to set the tempo to try and haul this team to an upset victory. Hard to call it an upset for the most storied program in state history with 24 championships, but that is most certainly what this would be here tonight if they come up with it. Lewiston on the other end getting set to go through their introductions. Much larger roster for this Blue Devils team. No freshmen that are in the lineup. 5 sophomores that will see playing time, but a boatload of upperclassmen, 19 combined with 11 juniors and 8 seniors. But like I said, not necessarily the most experience playing in these games, as Jamie Bello, the head coach, has talked about. They'll start Jaden Wilson and Ryan Bossy as a pair on defense, the 2 seniors. And the forward lineup, their first line, featuring Jack LeBlond, that junior forward who had 20 points, Alex Robert, the senior captain, and then Dustin La Rochelle, the alternate captain and senior, who had 9 goals himself in the regular season, while goaltender Conrad Albert gets the start. We'll pause and return with puck drop in the opening period right after this with the national anthem. You're listening to 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
Falmouth Orthopedic Center. Central Maine Orthopedics. OA Centers for Orthopedics. All playing on the same team. Maine's top orthopedic practices have joined forces for more efficient and affordable orthopedic care. Introducing Spectrum Orthopedics.
Winter People Athletics creates custom athletic apparel, including team uniforms and spirit wear. They support team sports programs by offering a variety of clothing and other merchandise which can be personalized with team logos, player numbers and names, and various other options. They can also provide innovative custom screen printing and embroidered apparel to create fun and engaging fan and booster items to sell for your team fundraising efforts. Call Steve Haynes, Athletic Apparel Consultant, at 207-869-6019 or online at winterpeople.com.
All aboard MBR.org, the place to get all your high school and amateur sports news and information. MBR.org is in high gear with Maine high school winter sports. Go to MBR.org to chat about your favorite team. Find the latest articles, travel news, and cancellations. Or visit their all-new and very popular team pages. MBR.org has everything you want to know about high school and amateur sports in Maine. Coming in February, all the high school tournament action at your fingertips 24/7. It's high school sports heaven. All aboard MBR.org.
Back inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum from high atop the ice surface here in our Spectrum Healthcare Partners broadcast booth. I'm joined to my left by Dave Wing. I'm Caleb Lamb, here to bring you all the action in our Class A Boys Ice Hockey North Regional Final between the St. Thomas Saints and the Lewiston Blue Devils. Hope you're ready for what should be a fun night of hockey, a very late start, so we thank you for sticking with us. For those of you watching on MBR.org through either YouTube or our Facebook live streams where you can catch the action, and of course those of you listening to us on 105.5 WEZR, hope that you will enjoy what we hope is going to be a fun hockey game. Both these teams trying to take the next step to make it to the state championship game where they'll face off with the Biddeford Tigers. Lewiston's been there the last 2 years. They've won it the last 2 years. St. Thomas hasn't won it since 2000, but has been 5 times a runner-up in the state title. And after being knocked off by Lewiston the last few years, would like to upset the Blue Devils and get back to having a crack at another championship for win number 25. Teams on the ice, set for puck drop. Dave, this should be fun.
Been looking forward to it all week. Should be a good one.
Referee crew tonight, Corey Junkins, John Mallinson, and Joe Perryman set to get us underway. And we have the puck drop at center ice. Blue Devils in the home whites attack from left to right in period number 1. And they'll attack first with LeBlond coming down the middle. Tried to shovel it in front for Evan Cox. And that one steered aside. Played up the near side boards. Pelletier, Zach Pelletier that is, number 11. Younger brother of Mackenzie, the captain, as Mac deflects this one into the offensive zone. Mac and Zach on the attack, but this one played up the far side boards. Kept in at the right point by Jack Willett. All he can do is shovel it down, and it's a tentative start for this defense-first team for St. Thomas that has only allowed 36 goals in 20 games. Alex Robert coming in. Puck hit a dead spot on the ice and stopped behind him, but the captain scoops back and recovers it. He shot it deep before peeling off for a change. Michael Silly knocked it away from the cage. Wilson on wides, blocked in front off his own man. Puck pinballs around. Cox tried to play it over for LeBlond, but a tired group after a minute-long opening shift for the Blue Devils, and they'll look to head back to the bench for a change. Chance to break this one out. Across it comes looking for Jacob Lewis behind the sophomore forward, but he'll retrieve after it in the offensive zone. But Ryan Bossy gets there first and knocks it aside to the near boards. Ben St. Laurent lost it. Dominic Chassis shoots one wide to the far corner, and Frechette will send this one down the ice. Stopped by Gosselin in front of his own blue line. Gave it back to Frechette at center ice. He shoots it deep and heads in after it. Gosselin behind his own net. Shot it up the near side boards. Got to it there, did Hunter Hughes, the junior forward. Trying to play that one up for Chassis. Chassis, who picked up an injury in the last game against Lewiston and missed quite a bit of time this season. But he has been a goal scorer when he gets the chance. 6 goals. Good for third best on the team.
One uncharacteristic for Lewiston, kind of giving the puck up to nobody, and not something we've seen from them very much.
A little bit slow from them tonight. They haven't had a shot on target in now the first 2 minutes as it's broken out for Hughes through center ice. Crosses the blue line, shoots just wide of the post on the far side against Conrad Albert, who has yet to see a shot himself. Mackenzie Pelletier backhands one, just missed wide. Lucas Pichard trying to wrap it around in front. Bossy puts the freshman hard into the end boards. Puck hops high in the air. Pichard tried to center in front for Phelan. He recovers it. Sweeps it back down low, but it's cut off there by Gunnar Wade, and he shoots it out the far side. Third line unit out there right now for the Blue Devils, but they got things going in the semifinal round. Cam Dion and Gunnar Wade linking up for 2 goals in that 5-2 victory, including the first. No such luck through the neutral zone here. Icing with 2.5 gone in the first period.
A little tentative like we saw in the semifinal games. Both teams kind of feeling each other out, see what it's going to look like. A little sloppy to begin.
No shots on goal through 2.5 minutes. Certainly not used to that, and we'll see how things settle in. It may be just another rivalry game, the third time these teams have seen each other this season, but it's different in the tournament. Alex Robert now takes a nice move, cuts to the front of the net, but with his speed, he ended up at a bad angle and couldn't get one on target. Fuchsa had it covered, had it been there. Dominic Chassis, nice move through neutral ice. He pivots back at the left point. He'll loft this one down low to the glass, too far in front of Webster. Wilson turned it over, backhand shot off the side of the net. Turned to Chassis on the goal line. He couldn't redirect it goalwards, but Lewiston struggling right now on the breakout. And this Blue Devils team, perhaps with that lack of experience for a lot of these players dressed in white and blue at this point of the season, having a little bit of time, or at least a little bit of trouble, getting into the flow of things like we're used to seeing.
Sometimes young kids don't know they're supposed to be nervous, they just play.
Certainly a ton of youthful experience out there, but this squad has been playing together as a unit. Very small roster for the St. Thomas Saints. Only 180 kids in their enrollment versus 1,500 for the Lewiston Blue Devils. This one shot in from center ice. Off the outside of the cage as Albert didn't get good stick contact to it. Played up the near side boards. From left to right, they come with Frechette. He'll skate to the left, fires from distance. Shoulder save Fuchsa, and Pelletier swept it to the corner. He went to hit it out. Ben St. Laurent kept that one in, but only for a moment as it's found by Lewis and knocked to the near side boards. He's hit hard by Frechette. Puck knocked back to Dustin La Rochelle inside his own end, and his pass forward gets past a couple, but could not be corralled in the offensive end for the Blue Devils. Cranked in from center, only as far as Gosselin. Quick breakout pass the other way. There's room for Hughes to come in. He's looking to set up a shot. Went through the legs of Wilson, but he put the puck too far in front. Pelletier swept it around from the right corner, up the left side boards as it wrapped around the net, but it's Lewiston who gets there first. Played long by Willie Blanchett. Cam Dion had 2 goals in that semifinal round, but only got it back to center where it's turned over as it was lost by Ridgefield. Phelan knocks his man down at center. Mac Pelletier in after it against Bossy. Both of those 2 players finalists for the Travis A. Roy Award that'll be given to the best senior in Maine high school hockey later this year. Last year it was a Lewiston player who won it on the offensive side. Forward Jeremy Rancourt. St. Thomas would love to take it back from their rivals. Bossy would love to keep the tradition here. But right now they have bigger things to worry about as Wade skates in from the right for Lewiston. Into the corner, he'll go with it. Takes a little shove from behind by Willette. Puck knocked away, and a Lewiston player trying to get a shot over there in the, I should say a little extra shot. That was Cam Dion as the puck went the other side. It's loose behind a couple of players there. Nobody knew it was there, Dave.
St. Dom's done a nice job of really attacking the puck carrier and keeping him from in front of their goaltender.
Gaston Fuchsa, they expect that they'll be setting a lot of screens. It's been the only way for teams to beat him this year. Quick pass from the neutral zone after St. Thomas got it clear, but Lewiston can't get a clean entry, and it's offside for them. That'll allow time to clear the other way. Chassis in front of Evan Cox. Plays to Pelletier, who shoots in from center. Stopped there behind the net by Albert. Bossy looking up the middle. Pirouettes away from Chassis, who stays on the forecheck behind the net. Played up the near side boards for Robert. He floats it too high on the backhand. into the Lewiston bench. Stoppage with 9:15 to go in the first period. Only one combined shot so far, Dave. Not a soul would have guessed that.
No, and it kind of tells the story of what we've seen so far. Both teams a little tentative. Not a lot of speed through center ice. Something that we expected to see, I'm sure.
Face off in the offensive end for St. Thomas. Mac Pelletier on the draw, loses out to Robert. Two captains dueling there. Played around to LeBlanc. He'll chip this one up ice for Cox. Bouncing puck. Zach Pelletier, nice job to fight that one off. And Mac Pelletier comes up with it. He's got Webster with him. 3-on-3 rush ahead. Pass for Zach Pelletier. His shot floated too high, and this one ends up behind the net where Alex Robert will calm it down. He'll try to go long route one, and that pass just off the mark. Icing as he couldn't hit the backhand side of Jack LeBlanc. Stoppage with 8:51. Well, a big missing person on the bench for St. Dom's is their leading goal scorer, sophomore Will Fletcher, out for the rest of the year with suspension after picking up 3 game misconducts over the course of the year. And with a small bench already, that's a tough pill to swallow for Bobby Parker.
That hurts. Lewiston trying to do a little sending somebody away for a long pass. It hasn't worked so far.
They'll try another one here. Picked up by Frechette through center. Down the right wing boards, he skates off the draw. Did a nice job to throw this one at the side of the net, but Fuchsa well covered. Shot from the point, stopped in front by La Rochelle. Frechette finds it, right pad save, Fuchsa again, as a loose puck just squirreled away. Fuchsa lost his goal stick in the process. He retrieves it as the puck shot into the offensive zone. Bossy taps it back, gets the retrieve pass back to him from Jacob Story. Into the corner, though, some pressure on from Jacob Lewis. Hughes putting the pressure on. Nice job from Frechette up the far side boards. Turned over to Lewis, did a good job to keep it in. Cranks one from distance, Albert bobbled it, and that puck had to be airmailed out to center. Knocked down by Ryan Davis. From center ice, he'll shoot this one just wide. Touched by the stick of Albert, so no icing. Bouchard in there. Knocked away from him. Frechette backhands it again across the blue line. Lost off the stick by Willette. Dion in. Bouncing puck, and he's eventually fought off by Wolverton, who tosses him down in the corner right in front of the Saints student section. That sets them off. Fans needing something to cheer about as the shots have now picked up. 3 in the last minute or so by Lewiston. Only 1 from St. Dom's, but from distance.
Still pretty sloppy play.
Both teams still trying to find a rhythm. Blue Devils trying to do a good job of not turning over the puck after some struggles breaking it out. They've still not been able to link up well through the neutral zone. This is not the same Lewiston squad we're used to seeing. Wilson tied up behind the net. Got that one off to Gunnar Wade. Pelletier puts the hit on him, but he got it away to Ridgefield. Nice job through center ice. 2-on-2, he'll come into the offensive zone. Offside, though, as he fired. Was an easy stick save for Fuchsa on the other end.
Yeah, they just not. Usually you see somebody flying on the off wing for a nice diagonal pass. We haven't seen any of that from Lewiston. And like I say, the Saints have done a nice job collapsing on the puck carrier, making sure they don't get away.
Faceoff will come just outside the St. Dom's defensive end. Tie up there. Eventually Robert wheels back towards his own side of center ice with it. Goes to LeBlanc. He'll swivel it in on target. Left there for Gosselin. Backhands up for Webster up the left wing boards. He'll fire high off the glass. Bouncing puck won't be icing as Blanchett will play it. He'll swing behind his own net with it. Chassis on along with Zach Pelletier. Rolling puck got past everyone. Gosselin covering at center. Got the pass away, but it's found by Evan Cox. Check that, Jack LeBlanc at center. Stolen back by Zach Pelletier. Chassis lost it in over the right point. Wheeling back with it, Robert. He'll dangle through his own zone and eventually make a nice move past Webster up the left. In over the blue line. Looking to go to work to the goal line. Sweeps it in front, loose at the crease. Silly just gets it away. Came back to Robert. Silly found it again and whacks this one off the stick of Bossy to center.
You wonder if this is the hour delay that we're feeling right now.
Fired in on goal from center ice, and Fuchsa will keep it moving.
Neither team seems to be very focused yet.
Gosselin through center. Puck tipped on, but Frechette found it off the stick of Pelletier. Frechette cuts in. His shot partially deflected. Back to La Rochelle, in on target, and Fuchsa will cover up, taking that one off his chest and covering on the ice with his glove. Number 55 in white and blue, Dave, one of the players to pay attention to. Had 2 goals in the 3-1 victory over St. Dom's and another in the 3-2 win back on January 20th. But that's been quite a bit of time since these teams last faced each other over the span of 3 weeks. A clash on New Year's Day. Saints have struggled to get offensive chances in that period of that 3-2 loss in the second. They got outshot 20-2. So the fact that they're keeping rubber away from Gaston Fuchsa is a success in and of itself.
Sure is.
Fuchsa has to ice the puck here himself after he knocked one down at center, and he was looking to play it off. Didn't cover up, but then saw there was a sea of white and blue coming at him, so he just airmails it away. Very good puck handling goaltender, and by all accounts, very affable young man. We've seen his celebrations when his team wins. Likes to climb atop the crossbar to salute the fans and gather his teammates in. He'll be hoping to do that again in about an hour's time. Off the draw, Wolverton, who scored his first high school goal in that win against Edward Little. What a time to get it. Swivels this one behind the net. Over to the far side boards where Hughes was tied up. Blocked at the point. Puck ricochets to center. Wilson tried to fire it. Hughes knocked it down at the blue line. He'll play this one along. Too far past Lewis. That's icing with 5:21 to go in the first period.
Yeah, kind of uncharacteristic from Lewiston, forcing some shots. There was a nice D-to-D pass available right there, and they didn't use it. That's something we've seen from them a lot. And St. Dom's isn't generating much speed through center ice like we thought they might in that transition area.
5:21 to go with this face-off taken by Alex Robert. Happy to have those of you joining us on MBR.org, where you can find live video feed, courtesy of MBR Sports, on either the YouTube or Facebook channels. And, of course, those of you listening on WEZR 105.5 Maine's Big Z. Tap back to the point. Bossy from the left. Shot scores! Squirmed off the left shoulder of Fuchsa, and it falls in. Fuchsa didn't see it with a player passing in front and only got a piece. And by Gaston Fuchsa's standards, that's a little bit soft to allow there.
I thought it might have hit one of his defensemen in the shoulder and skipped in, but maybe not. We'll see what they say.
Bossy with his 4th of the year, and we'll make sure it wasn't tipped, as his effort in the previous game against Bangor turned to be touched by Dustin La Rochelle on its way in. But either way, the opening goal comes 9:57 into period number 1. Hasn't been pretty, but Lewiston still gets on the board first. And they're going to talk about this one here. And is there a penalty coming up afterwards, perhaps for a taunt? Bossy's being sent to the box here. The goal scorer for Lewiston. And it looks like there was something after the whistle. I didn't notice it, but if he taunted the St. Dom's bench. So the goal scorer ends up in the penalty box right after. Evan Cox had the assist on that one, as this one's taken to the offensive zone. Power play set up for St. Dom's, and a shot on that Conrad Albert stops and pins between his pads. Unsportsmanlike conduct, so it had to be a taunt directed at the bench, and he was at that far side point, right in front of them.
Might have turned around, said something.
Off the offensive zone face-off. One back by Pelletier. Shot from Wolverton, skipped off a leg and went wide. Wilson finds it behind the net. Lewis ties him up. Here's Pelletier trying to sweep it away. Found by Owen Cox, and he'll send it back to the point. Willett. Feed for Chassis. Chassis going back to the point. He'll skip it across. Wolverton, he can let fly. Puts that one off the blocker of Albert, who made sure it didn't get on target. Wolverton picks up the clearing attempt from the left point. Trying to angle it past Frechette. Tie up there. Chassis will wheel around. Tried to center it in front. Broken up by Owen Cox, who had his stick in the way again. Mac Pelletier comes up the near side. Back to Wolverton at the left point. Under some pressure, he tried to sweep it past Frechette, but no fooling the very experienced junior forward, and that one is clear. With 1:05 now remaining, Pelletier will start the rush back up ice. Power play time, I should say, with now a minute to go in the 5-on-4. 4 minutes remaining in the first period. 1-0 lead for the Blue Devils. That pass exits the blue line as Willett couldn't keep it along for Wolverton. He retreats towards his own end. Pass to Chassis through center. He wheels up ice with it. Had to kick it to himself. Chassis from the left circle shoots. Albert just seals it off his left elbow. He'll hang on.
We thought early in the year before he got hurt that he was one of their top offensive threats, and he's only a freshman.
Certainly was, as he put up 6 goals, 5 assists in the 12 games that he gone down there. Had a hat trick against Kennebec Wells and was injured in one of the contests against Lewiston when they fell by just a goal, 3-2. Fired around off the faceoff by the Blue Devils and out to center ice with some help from Gunnar Wade. And the puck stopped there in front of the bench. Tapped on for Jaden Webster. Webster makes a nice move cutting in. Webster hauled down by Dustin LaRochelle. They'll let it play as this one skips all the way down for Fuchsa to stop beside his own net. Gaston Fuchsa, the exchange student with 5 shutouts on the year, 940 save percentage that he's put up. He has been very, very good for this team, and they'll need him beyond tonight. Goal allowed here in the first period from Bossy from the point shot. Not his usual standard, but it has been a weird start to things. This one just sent in from center ice just over the top of the net, and Fuchsa having to cover up with that one lodged on just the skirt of the backside of the cage. So 2:57 to go. We're back to even strength at 5-on-5.
Yeah, we beat a dead horse, but it's been an interesting start to the game. Not the same polish that we've seen from either of these teams.
St. Dom's has looked a lot better offensively and defensively than they did in the first 2 meetings against the Blue Devils. Off the draw, shot stopped. Evan Cox tried to find it himself after LeBlanc's backhander popped into the air. Played back to the near side point. Jacob Story, some trouble with it from the right side. He'll sweep it down low. Chassis finds it. Tried to get it past LeBlanc, could not. From the right circle, LeBlanc fires. Missed the net. Came back out in front. Wolverton has it. He's tied up, and the puck will be skated away by Chassis. Tried to backhand it past Evan Cox. Alex Robert knocks it down to the slot area. The junior captain knocks this one back to the point. Story fires. Glove save. Fuchsa.
Yeah, unless there's traffic in front, you're not going to beat him with a wrist shot from the point. The only time they scored so far is when they had some screen in front.
Not allow the goaltender to see it. Such a basic principle, but one that really applies when you've got a goaltender who's got really good reflexes and has very good positioning. Dustin LaRochelle in for this offensive zone draw for the Blue Devils with 2:26 to go in the first period. And a late change coming from the Blue Devils will mean he's tossed from the circle. Frechette will take his place and loses out to Pelletier on the draw. Tapped through his legs. Webster now goes up ice. 2-on-3 though for St. Dom's. He plays it across nicely for Zach Pelletier, who shoots it in. Webster, who scored first the game-winning goal against Edward Little, also scored first against the Lewiston Blue Devils, and he gets it off to Zach Pelletier, trying to twist it in front. Pelletier, who ended up being leading point scorer with 14 over the course of the regular season for St. Dom's, and of course the 2 playoff games they've had so far. Frechette forces a turnover at neutral ice. Mac Pelletier knocks it back for Michael Silly as he covered for him, but turned over again by Silly as Ben St. Laurent gets by him and then avoids the hit. Plays it in front, LaRochelle! Off the crossbar, no!
Oh.
And they might have a peek at this one. Did it hit the back of the cage and go in?
Somebody turned the light on.
Or not?
They turned the light on. Somebody back there thought it was a goal. The goal judge turned the light on.
Well, we will have to see. They do have review from the overhead camera here in the regional final. And if that one hit the back bar and came down like it appears it might have, this could be a 2-0 lead late in the first period.
I thought it was a goal, to be honest with you.
I did as well, but we'll wait and see what they rule. We have the benefit of seeing in action the off-ice officiating crew with their little phone booth curtained off.
They have a camera up over both goals, looking straight down so they can see where the puck went, whether it crossed the line fully, and so on. And so he's getting a good look at it right now, taking his time. He's on the phone, down to the ice level.
Like the proverbial red phone from the Cold
War
ringing on the president's desk. It's the sign that things are very tense.
This is kind of tan phone, and he's talking to the official. Not a lot of nodding or anything going on, just listening.
In communication down on the ice with John Mallinson, one of our 2 referees tonight. He'll have the...
Not sure what the discussion either went over the goal line or didn't. I'm
Maybe
not sure.
tough to see as well with Fuchsa having reached back and trying to get a piece of it with the glove.
He may be asking what you saw as the person that was right there. And
you have to get a clear view of the puck as well to see if it fully went across the line. So
I say the goal judge turned the light on, which that's his job to make sure it went over.
1:42 remaining in this first period. A 1-0 lead for the Lewiston Blue Devils. Is it about to be more than that? Still taking a look at it right now as Gaston Fuchs stays in the cage, but both benches huddled around their coaching staff waiting for this decision to come down. One of these fan bases, one half of this rink, is about to be very happy. The other half, not so much. One goal that came in was from Ryan Bossy on a shot from the point. This one in front from La Rochelle on the doorstep was a bouncing puck that he got a deflection on. It wasn't a full shot, which might have made it difficult because it came off the top of his blade and popped into the air. But when you throw a changeup at a goaltender, or he's set ready to face a standard shot, and then you lob something at him, it can be very difficult to deal with.
Spoken like a true goaltender.
Lewiston Blue Devils, the two-time defending state champions.
This would be big.
They've only scored 3 goals in each of their 2 games against this St. Dom's netminder. I think right now for both these teams, they just want to know what the decision is so they can get back to playing.
Moving on.
Still taking a look over ahead on the goal off to our right-hand side.
We're going to hand the phone back. We're going to watch and see when he skates to mid-ice what he does.
Mallinson puts the phone down, and he will head out and says no goal. Off the bottom of the crossbar it came, and not enough information to overrule. It stays a 1-0 contest with 1:42 to go. Offensive zone draw coming up, and the St. Thomas Saints breathe a sigh of relief.
And he went to the Lewiston bench to explain to Jamie Bello what he saw and what they saw upstairs. So that's a good job to kind of cool everybody's feelings on that.
Alex Robert in for the draw against Mac Pelletier. Off the faceoff, it's tied up in the linesman skates, and Pelletier will send it behind the net. Jacob Lewis back for it. Sophomore forward comes up the right. Skips this one off the stick of Robert. Frechette will recover in his own zone. Under pressure from Chassis. Nice job to shake him free. Wires one the length of the ice. It's on target. Fuchs able to cover up, and he takes a little slash on his stick, and that, by the rule, should be a penalty. Robert hitting a goaltender who has the puck covered up. You cannot do that, but unless you get really good purchase on it, they're probably not going to call that a penalty, and that is what's being explained right now by the referee, is Mallinson not going to make that decision. They'll let that one go, but Lewiston known for those little extra taps after things. They like to try and get in a goaltender's head. They like to go over the line every now and again. And the Blue Devils get this face-off won, but it's quickly knocked away by Pelletier. Up the right wing boards, he comes, the captain, trying to go through the legs of Wilson. The poke check won it back. Robert, though, then has to dangle past number 6 in black and white to take it behind his own net. Bossy under some pressure, trying to start this one ahead with Jacob Lewis tormenting him. He gets it around for Wilson. He'll tap it back for the captain. Now Chassis comes to him, and Bossy lost it before getting that pass away for Frechette.
The Saints for Robert. They've done a nice job forechecking. They've given Lewiston some trouble.
Ryan Bossy so very, very good at being able to start the offense from the back, but right by giving those 2 forecheckers into the zone, they've forced Lewiston to pass the puck more coming out rather than have the defenseman skate to the blue line and then find someone going through the neutral zone. And that really has thrown the Blue Devils off their game. Off the draw here. Puck loose at the goal line. Banged around behind the Blue Devils net. Off the icing call. Gosselin couldn't keep that one in. Played long for Field. Silly lost an edge to the front of the net. Field, no, save made, and Fuchs has stopped it again. He was at full stretch with the right pad at the side of his net to keep that one out from Gunnar Wade and from Ridgefield. And now Silly able to backhand this one in deep. Jaden Webster after it. Only 24 seconds remain in the first period. 1-0 lead for the Blue Devils. Nice move by Dion. He finds Wade up the middle. Wade comes to the left. He fires. Missed the net. Came to Dion. Throws at the net off the side of the cage. And the net came off its moorings just slightly. So they blow play dead with 12.5 seconds left. Dave, there were those active end boards that teams sometimes get surprised by, and Fuchsa was scrambling to cover.
Came right back out, but the play before with two guys, 2-0, they really couldn't decide what they wanted to do and forgot to get a handle on the puck and then didn't really get much of a shot off. And it's too bad because they had a pretty good bid there. It
was a 2-0 after Silly stumbled. Off the face-off, Wolverton will take it around behind. 7 seconds to go. He's tied up by Cox. Looks like St. Dom's just trying to get to the locker room, only down by 1, and that's what they'll do. 1-0 lead for Lewiston in our regional final in Class A North Ice Hockey. Both teams head back to the locker room. 12-minute break in the company of their coaches before we'll get period number 2 underway. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll break down the scoring in that first period for you and also get you set for period number 2. Lewiston Blue Devils on top, 1-0 after 1. Still 20 minutes of ice hockey to come. You're watching it on MBR.org and listening to it on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
From the front office staff to the medical technicians, and the doctors. We're all playing on the same team. Discover Spectrum Healthcare Partners and the power of integrated specialty care.
Look, I get it. We all got snowed in last week. You're just now getting shoveled out. And when somebody mentions something to you about summer camps, your only thought is, can I go to it right now so that I don't have to deal with the snow anymore? Totally get that. However, this February vacation week, if you're home with your kids, there is one thing that you're going to remember. If you don't have something for your kids to do, you're going to be in for a long summer. Registration is now open for University of Southern Maine's summer camps. They've got basketball, they've got soccer, they've got ice hockey, and they have a ton more. I haven't even scratched the surface on this. Find the registration links now. Go to usm.maine.edu. That's usm.maine.edu and search summer camps, or find the links right now at mbr.org. And maybe get them in shape for some of these summer camps by letting them shovel off the roof or something like that. Or the deck, or the car, or maybe the big wheel. Either way. University of Southern Maine summer camps, where kids should spend the summer.
For 37 years, the Bowles family has been selling Napa Auto Parts in Hancock County. And every February, they make the trip to Bangor, Portland, and Augusta to cheer on the local basketball teams. And with their new Napa Auto Parts stores in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford, they have some new teams to cheer for. Like the kids out on the court, the Bowles family understands that doing business takes teamwork and dedication. Whether you're getting a belt for your sled, running a garage, or keeping your car and truck in tip-top shape, they're here to help. Visit your locally owned Napa Auto Parts in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford today. Full Court Press is on your team. Full Court Press is more than just a coffee shop. Some of their print services include color copies, black and white copies, posters, bindings, calendars, cards, business cards, and every door direct mail. They're located at 855 Main Street in Westbrook. Call them today at 207-464-0002 or request an estimate, place an order, and much more on their website at fullcourtpress.biz. That's fullcourtpress.biz. When you need a copy shop to bring the heat, it's time to hire Full Court Press. Winter People Athletics creates custom athletic apparel, including team uniforms and spirit wear. They support team sports programs by offering a variety of clothing and other merchandise which can be personalized with team logos, player numbers, and names, and various other options. They can also provide innovative custom screen printing and embroidered apparel to create fun and engaging fan and booster items to sell for your team fundraising efforts. Call Steve Haynes, athletic apparel consultant, at 207-869-6019 or online at winterpeople.com.
Okay.
Back inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum alongside Dave Wing, I'm Caleb Lamb here on WEZR 105.5. And for those of you watching live on Facebook and YouTube, courtesy of MBR.org, where you can find coverage of high school sports all season long. Basketball tournament has come to a close, but the ice hockey tournament still red hot right now as we are one step away from the state championship game. Remember, you can get coverage of that here on 105.5 Maine's Big Z on Saturday when either the Lewiston Blue Devils or the St. Thomas Saints, whoever emerges from the game you're enjoying right now, will take on the Biddeford Tigers for what's scheduled to be a 6 p.m. matinee fire show between two teams that'll be very experienced with each other, and one team out of the north that's going to be very hopeful to add another title to their collection. After the first period, very tentative start eventually got things going. Lewiston was held without a shot for the first 4 minutes of the contest, but they finished the period with 13. A lot of those from distance, though, a lot of fired in from center ice shots, which we're not used to seeing from them, Dave. Not a lot of that build up through center where they'll do such a good job of making sure they're weaving in and out of each other and setting up 3-on-2 and 2-on-1 rushes. This is a Lewiston team that's finding a good game plan from St. Dom's to take them out of their groove.
St. Dom's forecheck has really affected Lewiston. They haven't been able to generate any speed, no good passing tic-tac-toe, as you and I used to call it. And instead, we're seeing chipping it out, trying to hit the long pass, dumping it in and chasing it, and St. John's been equal to the task. So this has been uncharacteristic. We're attributing it to the hour delay. You sit in the locker room, you stew, you're anxious, you come out, look at the score, nothing happened, and suddenly an hour's gone, and you still haven't started to play yet. So I'm expecting this this period to be a little better, a little more action, maybe a little less sloppy play. On the other side of it, St. John's has generated some speed through center ice, but not the kind that we're used to seeing. Fuchs certainly has been up to the task. He had the one shot that eluded him where there was a screen. But really, it has not been the game that we expected it to be, quite frankly.
That Lewiston goal that you mentioned came at the 9:57 mark when Ryan Bossy, the senior defensive captain and a finalist for the Travis A. Roy Award, picked up his 4th of the season with a shot through traffic, might have glanced off a St. Thomas defender and hit the left shoulder of Gaston Fuchs and went in, but he clearly did not see that puck before it hit him, and it was able to slide just inside the post for the game's first goal. Cox with the assist on that one, sending the puck over to him. There was another moment, Dustin LaRochelle with a bouncing puck he got a whack on that looked like it might have crossed the goal line. Goal light flickered. Gaston Fuchs had fought it off and was able to cover up when it came back off the bar, and they did go upstairs to review it with the benefit of video review inside this building and determined it did not cross the goal line after about a 2-minute review to say this is still a 1-0 game. So Lewiston still without that second goal, and for St. Dom's still hanging tough. And one thing I'd almost say, Dave, that St. Dom's forecheck, keeping those defensemen in their own end of the ice, not allowing them to weave up and join the attack, I think that's almost affected their offense as well. They aren't able to get those counterattack rushes to get any odd man situations themselves because the Lewiston defense is back and waiting for them to pick it up.
I think
it's
you're right.
been more of a standard style game for them, which this team can do, but it's not quite the same type of offense that we'd see from Lewiston. 91 goals from the Blue Devils, only 52 out of the 20 games from St. Dom's. Nothing to sneeze at, but that's about half the total.
We're certainly expecting, if this continues, Gaston Fuchs will keep them in the game. If Lewiston continues to play this way, with no real skating, with any speed through center ice, there's no stretch passes. This chip it out, dump it in. God, it looks like North American style in the pros. You know, not very exciting, and looking to try to beat the stuffing out of the defense, and it just hasn't happened. So I don't know what we're going to expect in the second period, but I'm expecting a little more solid play from both teams. They've gotten the kinks out now of that waiting around for an hour. Button down the hatches. I think we're going to see a good second period.
And Dave, one of the X factors I'd probably say in this one, the Lewiston goaltending, been a little bit suspect over the last couple of years, even with those championship wins. Goaltenders who don't see a lot of shots with the team having so much possession. Jacob Smith and Conrad Albert swapping off through most of the first part of the season. Albert emerging as the starter down the stretch going into the playoffs here. But John Racine, goalie coach for Lewiston, will be hoping that his goalie is going to have enough to make some saves. Against Bangor, Albert played fine. He made the saves he needed to make. And that's really, for this Lewiston team that spends more than 2/3 of the game most times on attack, that's all you have to do.
Yeah, you don't need him to be spectacular. You need him to be solid. You need to make the stops he's supposed to make, and they'll be fine. It's funny, though. People out there listening, what do you mean he doesn't get many shots and so that's not good? No, you want him to have some shots so he stays focused, stays in the game, knows what to expect, kind of gets to look for what kind of shots they're concentrating on. When you don't see any, you lose your focus, as you know, as a goalie, and suddenly they've snapped one by you.
They refer to it as being a cold goaltender. So much of it is rhythm, reflexes, and just going through the motions that almost when you see goaltenders get a ton of shots, they can turn in great performances. You can ask Gaston Fuchs about it when he's been called on to make 50 and 40 save games and sometimes and been able to come up with a victory. And look at some of the best goaltending performances of all time. They've come with huge amounts of shots coming their way, and a goaltender can get in the zone. On the other side, you don't see a shot for about 5 minutes at a time. When it does come down to stop it,
hey, you get cold.
Aren't quite
one thing, you literally do get cold.
This rink not known for its warmness.
You stand there over and over, and nobody's done anything. You don't have to go down the butterfly. You don't have to go behind the net to stop a puck. Pretty soon, you're cold.
Well,
literally
we ourselves are not too cold. And the fans here milling around, anxious for this game to get back underway. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll have second period puck drop for you in 90 seconds time. You're watching coverage of the boys Class A North Regional Final on MBR.org and listening to it on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
From the front office staff to the medical technicians and the doctors, we're all playing on the same team. Discover Spectrum Healthcare Partners and the power of integrated specialty care.
All aboard MBR.org, the place to get all your high school and amateur sports news and information. MBR.org is in high gear with Maine high school winter sports. Go to MBR.org to chat about your favorite team. Find the latest articles, travel news, and cancellations. Or visit their all-new and very popular team pages. MBR.org has everything you want to know about high school and amateur sports in Maine. Coming in February, all the high school tournament action at your fingertips 24/7. It's high school sports heaven. All aboard MBR.org.
Back inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum, that horn you hear is the sound that will trigger the start of period number 2 in just a moment. Players back on the ice, skating in circles to warm up those legs again after 12 minutes in the company of their head coach. They'll see what adjustments they can make after what was a slow start for both teams, but one that did feature a goal in the first period for the Lewiston Blue Devils. They have edged their way in front in this clash of the Titans. In terms of history in Maine high school hockey, none better than these two. 21 state championships for Lewiston, 24 for St. Thomas. But one has had more history as of late than the other. That's the Blue Devils, looking to keep their chances of a three-peat alive. Face-off at center. Blue Devils from right to left win the opening draw here in the second period. We're back underway. St. Thomas playing out towards Webster on the left wing boards. He's knocked down in front of his own bench, and Evan Cox will shuffle this rolling puck into the offensive zone where freshman Jack Willett gets to it. Nice job to bounce that one away from the captain, Alex Robert, but turned back behind the net. Stopped there by LeBlanc. Robert coming for it. He'll get there. Willett trying to stop the pass in front. Backhand shot just off the right pad of Fuchsa as LeBlanc let go after it got away from Evan Cox. LeBlanc sends it back to the left point. Wilson from distance through the screen sent it wide. Evan Cox off the far boards. Plays it around to the left wing corner. LeBlanc trying to bounce that one past the goal line. Robert trying to fish it free from the pile. He's banged away off the puck by Zach Pelletier, and he finds older brother Max skating through center. Pelletier looks at Lewis front of the net, throws a shot off the stick of Albert, who turned it away to the corner. Nice job. If that one's a little bit further out to center, it's probably a goal on the rebound. Willett took a bad angle to the puck, able to bounce it back away from Frechette, who has to stop with Robert offside, and he goes to the bench to change with just more than a minute gone in period number 2. Jack Willett able to hold off that hit from Frechette and get the pass away back to his own end. Wolverton through center. Nice job from Hughes to drag it from behind his back. Lewis tried to shoot it in. He hit Chassie in the thigh, and Chassie will rattle it around the glass into the offensive zone for St. Thomas. Hughes and Lewis on the forecheck. Bossy puts this one up the far side for St. Laurent. He's run into and turns it over at center. Gosselin dumps it back deep once again. Hughes hustling in on the forecheck. Frechette will spin away from him. Chassie there as well, and this one airmailed into the St. Thomas bench. And a player rising up, Pouchard, heading that one away to protect his head coach behind him.
Gotta love that, huh?
You got the face mask in the way, so you might as well take one for the literal team.
But again, a lot of dumping in, not a lot of skating. Still pretty ragged play.
Face-off coming at the near side circle. Offensive zone for St. Thomas, but off the draw, Lewiston trying to clear quickly. They go to Dion, gets past him, but did get to center. Silly finds it, goes across to set it up for Davis. Pass long, whistled for icing. 2 minutes exactly gone in this second period, and it looks like it's still another close tentative period, at least to start things off here, Dave.
Yeah, I think pretty much a carbon copy of what we saw to start the game. So we'll see if that's going to change. There hasn't been any indication yet that it's going to.
A little bit different from the game we saw earlier between Biddeford and Chevrolet in a game that featured 5 goals in the final 10 minutes of regulation. What was an up and down, very fast-paced game. But these two teams very good defensively. I don't think we're going to see the score get that high. Tie up here for Owen Cox, who gets the pass out to center ice for Ridgefield. Webster banged into. That could have been interference as he didn't have the puck. Chassis comes in, fired a shot. He gets hit high up hard. This one played back to the near slot. Pelletier twists one in, save, comes back to him on the backhand shot. That one's blocked, and he'll go back to Silly at the far point. Fires, blocked down, backhand shot, just tipped away by the stick of Albert. And we do have a penalty upcoming against the Blue Devils. Nice shift there from St. Dom's, and they draw the cross-checking minor with 12:21 to go in the second period.
You know, that forecheck that St. Dom's is putting on the Lewiston defensive core is working. They're not getting the outlet passes that Lewiston needs to start their fast skating, and it's really hindered their offensive attack.
Second power play of the game coming up. Both have been for St. Dom's. Ryan Bozzi taking a penalty right after he scored. A couple of shots from the Saints, but no more. Off the draw comes back to Wolverton. Shot from distance, juggled and lost by Albert in front. This one's twisted back in front through the crease as it took a deflection off a Lewiston defenseman. Chance to get this one clear, and Bossy hits Chassis, just crosses the blue line, but he stops it in front of his bench, so they don't have to retreat too far. Wolverton playing it back for Webster. He has to shoot it in as he had just stepped on the ice for Chassis. This one's cranked around to the near side. Willett coming in off the point, gets it there, and he will stop at the hash marks. Tied up, though, and Robert forced it away. Short-handed rush, he goes against Wolverton. Played it off the skates of the St. Dom's player, and he tied it up again with his stick. Poke to the front, Frechette. Robert off the side of the net. Willett hits the referee, and it comes back out in front, but a chance to start the breakout ahead. Pass, though, off the mark. Bossy got there, so no icing. Minute and 10 seconds remaining in the 5-on-4 for the Saints, but not having much luck here. Pass to center, and Willett will recover there. Knocked over by Frechette on the big hit. Here's Webster, drops it to the point, fired up high. Albert dropped it, but he's able to cover up, and Webster gets shoved from behind over the goaltender. Not too happy with that contact there, and throws it back a little bit to the Lewiston alternate captain, La Rochelle.
That's, we're protecting our goaltender. The thing is, though, he didn't really do
Webster
anything
wasn't
to the
doing
goaltender.
anything to the goaltender. A little overprotective there. Certainly, you understand why anytime someone goes to the crease, but usually you save that for when they're actually standing in the blue paint. La Rochelle off the faceoff, lost it. Chassis shot, blocker save, knocked out of midair. Nice clear to get this one out to center ice where Silly has to retreat to his own zone to get it. 45 seconds remaining in the penalty for cross-checking against Jaden Wilson for Lewiston. St. Dom's will start this rush from behind their own net. Silly still with it, plays it up the far side boards, lost out on that one though as Chassis dropped it, played in front, couldn't be directed goalwards for a shot. Carried up by Hughes through center. Hughes from the right wing, dropped it off for Pelletier. La Rochelle was quickly to him. It's played across. Silly fires one. Gunnar Wade made the block in front. Goes to Gosselin at the right point. He fires, tipped wide off a stick. Chassis backhands it in front, got through the legs of Pelletier. Gosselin fires, save made. Hughes was there, just missed it on the far side. And then sliding through the neutral zone, Gunnar Wade kicked it away from Silly.
Not sure he meant to, but it worked.
Back for Gosselin. Quickly ahead, though, to the far side. Hughes holds off the hit there. Lost out on the puck, but Chassis has it. Throws it off the side of the net. Save made. And we are back to 5-on-5. Hughes goes to the point. Shot from Davis, just missed wide, and it's past Chassis off the boards. And a chance for Lewiston to break it out. Tired legs out there for St. Dom's, have to change. Robert fires, blocked. Nice job, Gosselin sticking with him. Pelletier through center, off the skates of Phelan. Turned over for Davis. Played along, and that one found by Matthew Fletcher, the freshman, knocking it for Phelan. Coming in, he's dicked to the ice by Evan Cox, who went chasing him. Mac Pelletier takes a big hit up high. Pelletier able to keep this one in the zone. Phelan stabbing at it, able to keep it in for a moment, but Bossy will turn back quickly with it for Wilson to start the breakout. Pass through center. Hit Robert. Wolverton had it jabbed through his skates. And this one's going to be covered by Fuchs as it ends up to the side of the net.
All of a sudden, Lewiston decided to pick up the hitting game and a little more contact, a little more physical, and we'll see if that pays off for them.
picking up the physical play after being outshot 5-0 over that span of 2.5 minutes there. Albert being called into action. Still a 1-0 lead for the Lewiston Blue Devils with 9:26 to go in period number 2 as we approach the halfway point of the hockey game. One back to Willett, I should say, in his own zone. He's upended. La Rochelle knocks it along behind the net. Centered one in front, came through to Bossy at the far point. He fires, tipped wide. Fuchs stabs with the stick, and he's able to deflect it. Came out the near side point, and this one will end up being kept in play as Wilson pinched in from along the left side
Real
boards.
gamble, but it worked for him.
St. Laurent with Frechette. 3-a-side scrum. This one forced back to the point. Again, Wilson coming up to keep that one in the zone, and Jacob Lewis will have to spin behind his own neck with it. Nice job there by Fuchs, who got a piece of La Rochelle as the shot's taken from the point. Loose in the slot. Didn't get through on the second attempt, and this one's knocked through to center. La Rochelle has been skating through the blue paint to try and cut some of the distance, chasing those players down, and Fuchs made sure he was covering the post, so La Rochelle went for a tumble. Nice job by Bossy. Makes a nice move along Chassis. He's going to cut in himself. One-on-one. Forces Gosselin away. Sets up La Rochelle. Fired one wide. Dion to the goal line. Gosselin leans into him. Pelletier trying to skate this one around. Mack, that is. He's got Zach to his left. That's where the pass goes to. Missed him. Icing. Call made with 8:15 to go in period number 2. They'll bring the face-off down at this near side point, or circle, I should say, in the zone as Lewiston goes through their Devil's chant. Gunnar Wade in for this face-off. He's tied up immediately off the draw, but fishes it back to Dion. Poked it into the slot area, knocked away, and Mac Pelletier will leave it behind for Zach Pelletier, who touches back for Davis.
Lewiston's defense also playing pretty cautious. Nobody's pinching. I think they're worried about St. John's speed a little bit.
Zach Pelletier into the offensive zone, fires it in deep. Away from Webster, though, and Gunnar Wade will get to it. Wade plays this one ahead, took a touch off the glass just in front of the St. Thomas bench, but stayed in play. Turned over for Webster, blew a tire as he tried to turn through the neutral zone. Albert will stop it behind the net. Blanchett plays it far side. Dion tries to chip this one along. Pelletier steps into him. Puck is loose, knocked free to center for Ridgefield. He's got Dion to his right. Field cutting in, fires, glove save. Fuchs, no problem from distance there. We are halfway home, still a 1-0 Blue Devils lead.
Yeah, those long shots from way outside, especially wrist shots, are not going to beat Fuchs. Unless there's somebody in front of him screening him, he's got those all the way.
Both teams will make line changes here. Top line unit coming on for this offensive end face-off for Lewiston. Robert LeBlond and Evan Cox. 2 penalties have been killed off by Lewiston in this game, and they have the only goal. Looking for more as Evan Cox lost it, just kept it in at the blue line. Pass fired across for LeBlond. Came in front. Fuchs stabs at it with the paddle, and he'll cover up.
That was a little offense by accident. It came off the boards, and one Lewiston player missed it, and it went right to Robert, and he almost put it in.
Well, Dave, it was about this point of the game against Edward Little that St. Thomas started to get going. They scored 3 goals in a span of 3 minutes to put that game away as Fuchs has to make a save on the wraparound in front off the draw, and it comes loose away from Hughes. Alex Robert has it. He goes for the wraparound again, goes farther out this time, turns and fires. Shoulder save made. Fuchs knocked it to the corner. That's where Evan Cox picked it up. Shuffled back for Bossy. He'll fire it in deep. Wolverton trying to get to it. Wolverton pokes this one along, but Evan Cox was waiting for it. Send in behind the net for Robert. Evan Cox going to the front of the net. Chassis helping cover down low, and he'll get in there on the forecheck, or I should say back check, and take this one away. Back to the point, stick save off that shot from distance from Bossy. They'll go back to him again, but he missed this one, and it's all the way down on target against Albert. Tired group gets to change for St. Thomas.
But again, a lot of shooting by Lewiston, not a lot of passing, which is interesting. Not what we've seen from them.
Alex Robert tied up along the left side boards. Turned it over to Pelletier. Tried to get it out for Phelan. Could not. This one comes loose through the slot area. Jack LeBlond goes far side. Thrown at the side of the net. Shoulder save up high with the blocker hand. Wraparound didn't work. They tried to go the other side. Fuchs was waiting for it. Didn't get a shot on target either way. Just kept in. No, they'll say it was offside. Owen Cox couldn't hold it in the zone.
About 2 inches, I'd say.
It was
almost
close.
there.
Well, you can certainly feel the momentum shifting the Lewiston Blue Devils' way with a couple of good shifts in the offensive end, threatening to score. And St. Dom's running around a little bit with some tired legs. Very short bench for the Saints. with only really 2 complete lines and 2 defensive pairings. Played out to Phelan, past him, kept in it by Cox at the left point. He'll send it down low. Dustin La Rochelle tied up. Breakout pass, finds Bouchard up the left wing side, but just skipped away off his forehand, and Wilson backhands it to safety. Chip back into the offensive end. Wilson, under pressure from the 2 forecheckers, gets this pass up the near side. La Rochelle lost it. Phelan lost an edge as he twisted around with it, was able to shovel it back in, but it's played past him and past St. Laurent. He's able to get it on for La Rochelle. Angled back out through center ice. Gosselin plays it across off the St. Dom's bench boards. Into the neutral zone it goes.
Penalty
Wilson
coming.
Firing this one up, and there is the touch. We've got an interference call coming.
On Lewiston. No, it was foolish.
Looked like Wilson, and I believe that's who it is.
The puck had gone, everybody was standing around, and he just...
And no, it is La Rochelle, excuse me, who picks this up. Second penalty from him. It was going to be the second penalty for either of those players who ended up going to the box. And St. Dom's with a 3rd power play. They looked very good on their last one, just didn't score.
This is how they changed the momentum against Edward Little.
2
Back-to-back
power
penalties.
play goals. Lewis for the draw, wins it back to Chassis. He'll touch it back to Ouellette. From the right point on, Chassis taking a look. He'll accelerate down low. Lost it in the scrum, and this one came loose into the slot area. Story just got it past center ice. Wolverton plays it across for Chassis up the right wing side. Offside as he got his skates across the blue line, but the left-handed shot still had the puck outside the zone. We'll keep an eye on the players at the point. They've got Ouellette and Wolverton, the freshman pairing. Derek Wolverton can really let fly. He's got a bomb with that slap shot if he can get the chance to uncork it. Ouellette tried to shuffle it across from him, but it comes back to their own zone.
Little misfire.
Pass up the near side boards, tipped on by Zach Pelletier. Gunnar Wade knocked it back off. Chassis trying to play it to himself, angled all the way down the ice up high. Nice job by Bossy getting that one clear. Perfect clear off the boards where no player would get a chance to touch it, and angled it so it would stop behind the net. Perfect dump out. Ouellette turned back towards his own side to pick this one up. 50 seconds of the power play time, not really fully utilized by St. Dom's as they try to get things going. Pass for Zach Pelletier was behind him. Gunnar Wade shuffles it down low. Robert waiting for it in the corner. He's tied up by 2, but that's going to kill some more seconds. Mac Pelletier picks it up now. We'll see if the captain goes to work himself. He does on the rush through center. Trying to use the speed. He crosses the blue line. He's poke-checked away as Wilson was reaching for him. Zach Pelletier tries to help out. Chassis in there for it as well. Forced it back to the corner. Wade, under pressure, tried to play it to himself off the boards. Lost it, but the defense there for Lewiston, and they will get it clear once again with only 35 seconds to go in the man advantage.
Yeah, not much of a power play here.
Fuchs played that one between his legs with the glove. He's very confident in it, but certainly left everyone else in black and white feeling uncomfortable that he might accidentally shovel that one into his own goal. Webster trying to stick handle by his man. He's tied up in the corner, had his stick held by Bossy there. Those two corral each other. Puck still loose in between the skates. Comes free. Chance to go back to the point. And it's lost by Silly. He couldn't keep in the zone and then fired a bad pass. Tipped away from Gosselin. LeBlond in on the breakaway. Penalty coming for hooking against St. Dom's. And they haven't gotten the touch to it. Now they will. And after a nice kill by Lewiston, they'll go up on the power play for the first time tonight.
Thought it might be a penalty shot, but just a penalty.
No choice there. Michael Silly, a bad shift for him, put Ben Gosselin in trouble, and the junior and senior statesman of the defensive corps had no choice but to make sure that one didn't end up in the back of the net.
Now, we've been talking up Lewiston's power play for a couple of weeks now. We'll see what they've got.
They certainly have good puck movement, but tonight,
no, not at all.
things have not been very easy for them on the neutral zone 5-on-5 play. We'll see.
We haven't seen passing at all. Not good passing at all.
Robert will take it off the left side hash marks from the boards. Goes across. There's room for a shot. Fuchs came a long way out and scrambles
he was
back.
out at the circle.
No one went for it, and he makes another save with the left pad. Gaston Fuchs with the play of the game so far. His defenseman fell asleep. Nobody moved out to that far side, and Fuchs bails him out. Back into the zone they come. La Rochelle goes for Bossy at the left hash marks. Goes back up top. Owen Cox across for Robert from the right wing circle. Now the passing goes to work in the playground. Cox fires, tipped, but stopped.
Nice job by Bossy to carry it into the zone, but then slow down and stop and let them get in position as opposed to just firing on net or firing into the corner.
Dustin La Rochelle, the man stationing him out in front of the net. He's the master deflector. He likes to get the tip on the puck on those shots, and scored like that on the power play last game against Bangor. Shot in and out of the glove of Fuchsa as Bossy fired one off the draw. Back it comes for Robert. He goes across. Owen Cox blocked in front. Wolverton coming to the aid of his housemate, as they are the host family for Gaston Fuchsa, the goaltender. There was a nice story in the Lewiston Sun-Journal about their relationship over the course of this hockey season.
Nice pass today on that play and a nice block.
Here comes Robert going against the young defenseman again, and this one gets away from him, and the goaltender covers up, and again, the stick is jabbed in against the wrist of Fuchsa, but that time he was able to get away with it because he was going for the same patch of ice outside the blue paint. 2:06 to go in the second period. 1-0 lead still for Lewiston, but they're knocking on the door to try and double their tally ahead of the third period. Off the tie-up here, Owen Cox from the left wing point. Goes across, shot from the distance, and it didn't get through. Blocked in front. Wilson will keep it in. Back to the right point it comes. Webster went for a tumble. Feed down low to the right wing circle. Backhand shot just saved as it was tipped. They've got the man in front, Caden Smith, now helping out on the power play. Haven't seen much of him tonight. Puck played around behind the net. Jack Willett trying to play this one up and out. Could not. 25 seconds remaining in the man advantage, and they lose it themselves, Lewiston, as Owen Cox was swinging down low, and LeBlond was trying to play it at the point to the now deserted defenseman. Long pass for LeBlond up the right wing side. Nice touch in front for Cox. Goes across for Smith. He didn't get much on that one-timer and put it wide. Bails out the Saints. 5 seconds to go in the penalty to Gosselin. Shot from distance. Save made, Fuchsa, and this one's clear. And we're back to 5-on-5. Gosselin now out of the box. Closest one to it. And Albert had to come out to play it.
Nice play by Albert.
Good heads-up play from him. Chassie keeps this one in the zone and will wire this one deep with now 60 seconds remaining in the second period. Turned over by Lewis. Nice job to force it away. Played high off the glass. Bounced past Silly. And here's Dion going 1v3. Gosselin staying with him. Shot from distance. Knocked high into the air, volleyball style, off the blocker of Fuchsa. Took no chances with that fluttering shot. Who knows where it might have been at the height for when it came down at the goal line.
Yeah, goalies aren't used to blocking many shots up that high. That's not something you're looking for in practice.
Take no chances on that one. Late change from St. Thomas as they have that right here in the second period. And they'll try and get this one ahead from Chassie. He's got Lewis ahead of him. Poked away. Here's Richfield with 40 seconds coming back into the offensive zone. Field leaving it for Blanchard, who takes a bump from Pelletier. Lewis forces this one out to center ice. 30 seconds to go in the second. Long pass, missed the mark. That's icing with 26.5 to go.
Right idea. Try to hit somebody through center ice, see if they can't get a good skate going, but nothing doing.
St. Thomas will take one last crack at trying to reverse the momentum in the flow of this game going into the third period. They're still close. They're knocking on the door, but they have not yet put one in the back of the cage. And as they saw what can happen with Bangor, or I should say Edward Little, the team that they beat, very tough when you're down going into the third period. Gosselin unable to keep that one in at the point, and here's Frechette. 2-on-1 coming in. Fanned on the pass, gets it back. Wolverton jammed it away. Great defensive play, and that one lost. Chance with 10 seconds left to go. 2-on-1. Pelletier has Chassie. Tried to pass it for him. Came out in front. Oh, and Albert had the stick there to take it away. Nice chance on either end for both teams, but neither cashes in. And we go back to the dressing rooms with no goals headed to either side of the scoreboard. This one very delicately poised, Dave, with 15 minutes to play.
Yeah, really, that's the way the first two periods have gone. Frechette had an excellent opportunity for really not only a 2-on-1, but probably just a man alone in front, and he lost the puck. So
fanned on the pass and then couldn't get it out of his skates when he got it back.
Yep.
Well, we will step aside, and when we come back, we'll break down that second period for you. Plenty of eventfulness, just no pucks going in the back of the net, and there's a nervous energy creeping over this building. It feels like the next goal that goes in could be very, very decisive, even if it just means it's a tied game when we get the third period going. Well, we'll take a break right now, though. 1-0, Lewiston Blue Devils on top after 2 periods of play. You're watching it courtesy of MBR.org on Facebook and YouTube, and listening to it on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
Falmouth Orthopedic Center. Central Maine Orthopedics. always centers for orthopedics. All playing on the same team. Maine's top orthopedic practices have joined forces for more efficient and affordable orthopedic care. Introducing Spectrum Orthopedics.
Full Court Press is on your team. Full Court Press is more than just a coffee shop. Some of their print services include color copies, black and white copies, posters, bindings, calendars, cards, business cards, and every door direct mail. They're located at 855 Main Street in Westbrook. Call them today at 207-464-0002 or request an estimate, place an order, and much more on their website at fullcourtpress.biz. That's fullcourtpress.biz. When you need a coffee shop to bring the heat, it's time to hire Full Court Press.
Look, I get it. We all got snowed in last week. You're just now getting shoveled out. And when somebody mentions something to you about summer camps, your only thought is, can I go to it right now so that I don't have to deal with the snow anymore? Totally get that. However, this February vacation week, if you're home with your kids, there is one thing that you're going to remember. If you don't have something for your kids to do, you're going to be in for a long summer. Registration is now open for University of Southern Maine's summer camps. They've got basketball, they've got soccer, they've got ice hockey, and they have a ton more. I haven't even scratched the surface on this. Find the registration links now. Go to usm.maine.edu. That's usm.maine.edu and search summer camps. Or find the links right now at mbr.org. And maybe get them in shape for some of these summer camps by letting them shovel off the roof or something like that. Or the deck. Or the car. Or maybe the big wheel. Either way. University of Southern Maine summer camps, where kids should spend the summer.
Winter People Athletics creates custom athletic apparel, including team uniforms and spirit wear. They support team sports programs by offering a variety of clothing and other merchandise which can be personalized with team logos, player numbers and names, and various other options. They can also provide innovative custom screen printing and embroidered apparel to create fun and engaging fan and booster items to sell for your team fundraising efforts. Call Steve Haynes, athletic apparel consultant, at 207-869-6019 or online at winterpeople.com. For 37 years, the Bowles family has been selling Napa Auto Parts in Hancock County. And every February, they make the trip to Bangor, Portland, and Augusta to cheer on the local basketball teams. And with their new Napa Auto Parts stores in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford, they have some new teams to cheer for. Like the kids out on the court, the Bowles family understands that doing business takes teamwork and dedication. Whether you're getting a belt for your sled, running a garage, or keeping your car and truck in tip-top shape, they're here to help. Visit your locally owned Napa Auto Parts in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford today.
From the front office staff to the medical technicians and the doctors, we're all playing on the same team. Discover Spectrum Healthcare Partners and the power of integrated specialty care.
All aboard MBR.org, the place to get all your high school and amateur sports news and information. MBR.org is in high gear with Maine high school winter sports. Go to MBR.org to chat about your favorite team. Find the latest articles, travel news, and cancellations. Or visit their all-new and very popular team pages. MBR.org has everything you want to know about high school and amateur sports in Maine. Coming in February, all the high school tournament action at your fingertips 24/7. It's high school sports heaven. All aboard MBR.org.
Second period intermission here at the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum. Alongside Dave Wing, I'm Caleb Lamb. We have reached 2 periods down and 1 remaining, and still a very close game on hand between the rivals, the Lewiston Blue Devils, and the St. Dominic Academy Saints. A 1-0 lead, courtesy of a first period goal for Lewiston's Ryan Bossy, the only marker that has these two teams separated. Plenty of power play chances, though, in that second frame, Dave. We saw 2 for St. Dom's. First, they made some hay from. The second, not so much, and that led directly to a Lewiston power play where Gaston Fuchs had to come up with a couple of big saves.
Yeah, I think if we're going to judge the power plays, I thought Lewiston's last couple were pretty good. They got some good chances, but again, kind of beating a dead horse in these first 2 periods. We're not seeing the exquisite passing that we've always seen from Lewiston these last 2.5 years of almost tic-tac-toe, looking for the man open and then just a wide open net and they put it in. They've struggled. The passes haven't connected. I think, as we mentioned before, whether it's on the power play or not, St. Dom's defense has been there. They've protected their goalie. They have forechecked the defenseman and kept Lewiston from skating through center ice, zipping passes short and long, and transitioning into the offensive zone. We just haven't seen it tonight. It's been ragged. It's been kind of unfocused, I guess is the word I'd use. And St. Dom's hasn't generated a lot of offense. It says 13 shots on goal, but
23 for Lewiston.
Yeah, 23 for Lewiston, 13 for St. Dom's. I'm not sure how many of the 13 we would call quality shots on goal. 1 on the power play that I remember. But they have played excellent defense, and I think what their plan, it looks like in this game, was if we can keep them from scoring very much, we might get a breakaway or a 2-on-1 or a fluke goal or something and either tie it or win it and go from there. So far, they've been able to do that, I believe.
For St. Dom's, the recipe for scoring goals against especially these very good and tough to play against opponents has been to get sort of the dirty goals, the gritty goals of going in and around the crease, banging the bodies, creating havoc at the front of the net and trying to chip something home on the rebound. They've worked it to great success this season at times, but it's hard to rely on that, especially when you need to get a lot of players forward. You need to have a clean entry from your 3 forwards, and we certainly haven't seen that tonight from St. Dom's. But they have done a fantastic job of keeping Lewiston off their game. This is not the same team that got outshot 20-2 in the second period of what ended up being a 3-2 loss, where they needed Gaston Fuchs to be heroic. Fuchs has made all the saves he's been supposed to make, basically, and he's come up with a few that probably should have been Lewiston goals. That 1 tally on the shot from the point through traffic is the difference maker right now, and unless St. Dom's can get something to happen offensively, Lewiston is just 15 minutes away from another regional title and a 3rd straight trip to the state championship game.
Couldn't said it better. I think Lewiston needs to maintain their game, maybe a little more passing. We haven't seen them use the points that much, and in the past they've overloaded one side with somebody in front of the net. We haven't seen too much of that. We've seen a lot of shots being taken by Lewiston, solo shots, which is unusual for them. And like we say, the Saints have got to find a way to generate some offense, maybe pinch a little bit, take some chances, see if they can't get one here early in the period, and then maybe change the momentum.
And it's important to note that for St. Dom's, trying to do this and trying to make this run to the state title game without their leading goal scorer, who's still missing through suspension this year. That's Will Fletcher, the sophomore forward, who had 9 tallies through the season. Zach Pelletier, the sophomore forward, Dominic Chassie, Jacob Lewis, probably 3 of the youngsters they'd look to step up in this point of the game, all underclassmen. And, of course, senior Mac Pelletier. Will he have his say in things before all is said and done here? We're going to take another break. We'll be back in 60 seconds to get the 3rd period underway, and we'll stay with you to the conclusion of this hockey game. 1-0 Lewiston after 2. We'll decide it, at least for regulation, when we return. Watching it on MBR.org, and you're listening to live coverage of the boys' North Regional Class A Ice Hockey title game on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
From the front office staff to the medical technicians and the doctors, we're all playing on the same team. Discover Spectrum Healthcare Partners and the power of integrated specialty care.
Full Court Press is on your team. Full Court Press is more than just a copy shop. Some of their print services include color copies, black and white copies, posters, bindings, calendars, cards, business cards, and every door direct mail. They're located at 855 Main Street in Westbrook. Call them today at 207-464-0002 or request an estimate, place an order, and much more on their website at fullcourtpress.biz. That's fullcourtpress.biz. When you need a copy shop to bring the heat, it's time to hire Full Court Press.
Sorry, 10. What am I talking about? 10.
Back inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum alongside Dave Wing, I'm Caleb Lamb. Third period set to get underway. St. Thomas Saints and Lewiston Blue Devils, the number 3 and the number 1 seed out of the North region, are about to decide who makes up the second half of our two-team tandem for the Class A state championship game on Saturday. The Biddeford Tigers have booked their ticket with an overtime double OT win, 6-5 against the Cheverus Stags. One of these two rivals, 45 state titles between them, is going to go and join them. Lewiston wins the draw. They lead 1-0. Dressed in the home white and blue, they go from left to right. St. Thomas, Jack Willett, the freshman defenseman, plays this one in the direction of Pelletier, who takes a bump before the puck came to him, but it goes uncalled. Mac Pelletier clears to the near side boards looking for Webster. Skated away by Evan Cox. He'll take it from behind his own net. Plays up the far side, now goes through the middle, and he's able to find Alex Robert hanging out. Pass back for Cox. In over the blue line with some speed. Evan Cox fires off the blocker. Fuchsa was dropping deep and blockered that one away from inside the cage. Played back to the right point. Wilson gets some distance on that long wrister, but it's kicked away to the corner off the left pad of Fuchsa. Webster plays this one along. Got it to center. Wilson angles it back across through the neutral zone, and Robert will shimmy through one. Couldn't beat the other as Willett poke checked it away. LeBlanc knocks it back. Silly. That pass deflected. Willett turned it over at neutral ice. Alex Robert picks it up. He'll fire this one in over the top of the net from distance. Silly needs to get there as LeBlanc was able to get a stick on that one. Silly a little too lackadaisical and now lost possession of it. Played across here. Nice job to knock it down out of midair from Willett. Pass was deflected through the center neutral ice by Hughes. So no icing as it's waffled all the way around. And down the ice, that is icing against the Blue Devils. Looked like there might have been a touch right at center ice in front of the St. Dom's bench, but no, as it got through everybody. And Zach Pelletier out to retrieve his fallen stick. Will now head back to the bench. Offensive zone draw coming up for St. Dom's, and we'll keep an eye on how they go intensity level-wise, trying to turn up the clock and get things going. And it looks like there is a stick to hand to the Lewiston bench. That was LeBlanc's lumber that had been lost.
Thought they were going to throw it up in the stands. Why not? You know.
St. Dom's will have to start pressing for an equalizer at some point, but still 13.5 minutes of hockey to play, but they can evaporate very quickly when you're playing from behind. Lewiston breaking out from their own zone. They got it across the blue line, but no further as Hughes turned it back over. La Rochelle comes in, cranks one up high. Blocker saved by Fuchsa, and a rarity for him. He did not know where that rebound went. It was high in the air in front of him. Played up the near side boards, but not out. Frechette, high slot, tied up, leaves it for La Rochelle, blocked by Gosselin, closing the wickets in front. La Rochelle tried it again. Wolverton in the way, got the ankle to it. Owen Cox goes across. Bossy fires, blocked by Gosselin. Rebound fired off the right pad as St. Laurent let it go. Gosselin chips this one up. Lewis taking a look through center. Hughes. Lewis will take the open skates. Nice job by St. Thomas to stay onside. Lewis knocked down from behind by Owen Cox. This one played over the far side. Pouchard charging onto it. He'll chip it deep, and he gets it for Chassie, who goes back to the point. Silly fires. Stick save to the corner as Albert got the stick to it, and it plays nicely for Frechette. Angling up for Dion. In the offensive zone, he'll rattle it in deep, but Lewiston in the midst of finishing off a change. Silly overskated it, has to go back for Davis. Davis plays hard out to center. Stopped by Wilson. He'll dump it right back in. It's a territory game at the moment. Blue Devils happy to just try and win that battle. Difficulty for Davis there. Pashard wanted to leave it for Silly, but Silly again not quick enough to get there as Gunnar Wade leans into him. Field forces the turnover, touches in front, shot off the post, it wouldn't go. Nice setup on the wraparound, and now turned over in the high slot as Phelan drags it with him. Gets around a man, little clutch and grab, knocks it for Chassie, just lost off the St. Dom's forward, and it's played up but not out of the zone. Phelan sends this one deep. Pashard will try and get after it. Wilson pokes it along there. Pelletier charging it off the boards. Lost the puck off his forehand, and it's lofted clear to center. Messy hockey, but nearly worked out for a couple of chances there for St. Dom's. Turnover there through the neutral zone. Read by Field. Didn't get a lot on it, but he got the pass in the direction of Wade. He'll throw it back in front, and Phelan scoops it away. He'll chip it up ice, soft enough so no icing, as they make a partial change for the Saints.
Never seen so much chipping out.
Bossy, nice move to make sure he didn't have to do that as he stepped between two, and he finds Cox, who quickly slashes up the way, down the right wing side, steps around a man, fired just wide of the far post, and out it goes of play. Well, goodness, that was some speed as Lewiston cranks the notch to 11 there on that rush, but despite doubling up the Saints in shots on goal, they only have one to show for it. 27 saves from Gaston Fuchs tonight.
Yeah, that speed up the wing, though, there was nobody coming on the other side to draw the goaltender at all.
Off the draw, Webster tied up. Evan Cox jammed away from him. Mackenzie Pelletier couldn't come up with it. Robert goes for a skate about in the corner. His shot was deflected right back to him there. He'll go behind the net with it, pushing towards the far side. He's chased down. Willett lost it, came out in front, save made, rebound tied up. Couldn't get a shot away. Bossy, nice job to pinch in, and he just pokes it along in behind the net. Willett plays it up for Zach Pelletier. He lost it. Webster reaching for it, could not. Alex Robert to the high slot. He gets grabbed, but not enough to draw a penalty there. Not that the Lewiston fans won't holler about it, as it's played in deep again. Reached up top there, but he didn't actually grab hold of any article of clothing, as a long pass does slip through to Pelletier, but jammed away by the ever-watchful eye of Wilson before he could make anything happen. Frechette swung at it, missed there. Gosselin goes up the far side boards from the right wing. Hughes with speed. He's got Lewis with him. Offside? Oh, my. That looked to be perhaps not that close, but Joe Perryman seeing it, and he will blow the play dead with 5 minutes gone in the third period.
Yeah, really pretty much the same thing we've seen the first two periods. Lewiston's starting to give a few more chances. They may be wearing St. Dom's down with that shortened up bench.
You can see that this is going to take a lot of effort for St. Dom's, and they are doing everything they can to keep this one away defensively. If they can get a greasy goal offensively, they might have a chance. And Wilson fanned on a clearing pass out of his own end. Nearly gave them that opportunity there. Lost by St. Laurent. Chassie reaching for it, couldn't come up with it. Wolverton stops it, though, just his side of center ice. Skates through the neutral zone and backhands one in deep. This one will go behind the net. Hughes after it. Puts the pressure on Wilson, who fires this one around. Got to Frechette. Wolverton, he can crank it. He does. Redirects into the crease. Oh, and it's kicked away. Left pad save Albert as that one fell for Chassie. He fires on. Tipped on goal. Blocker save. Loose at the side of the net as Hughes just knocked it out of midair and got it on target. Back to Silly. Fired from distance. Saved. Tries it again. Chassie the turnaround effort. Couldn't get it past La Rochelle. Knocked back to Silly at the right point. Went across for Wolverton, knocked away, and here goes Sam Frechette, one-on-one coming in to the backhand, or I should say forehand. He is stopped, no room to deal with. Nice job hustling back by the defense as well. La Rochelle couldn't keep it in. Chassie with speed, being lined up by Wilson, and he's forcing that one away. Frechette all the way back to his own zone to make amends, will now chip it clear to center.
Yeah, I think Frechette wanted to go kind of fade a little bit and lift it up over Fuchs, but he couldn't lift the puck and went right in the pads.
Angled pass goes for icing against St. Dom's with 8:43 to go in the third period. They've got a couple of chances, but Albert, with a pad save and a blocker save, keeps his team in front 1-0.
A little more skating all of a sudden. And again, I wonder if St. Dom's starting to get a little bit tired, although they've skated well.
A lot of hockey in a very close game for them just a few days ago. 3 on that Saturday game. Off the draw, or I should say off the clear here. It's kept in at the near point. Wilson again touches this one back into the zone. Jaden Webster played it up but not out. Wilson cranks it, caught in the belly by Mac Pelletier, and he felt that one as it's knocked clear by Webster through center. Back for Wilson in his own end. His pass took a touch. Zach Pelletier racing after it in the corner. He lost it. Tied up by Bossy. Bossy, nice job using his frame. Just angled that one clear. That was textbook defensive presence. And now a pass for Field. He's behind Willett. Cuts in. Deeks tied up. And he got the shot wide, but he was hooked from behind. Penalty coming. And then a little shove there from Wade. Sends the freshman defenseman to the corner. We'll see if he picks up a penalty for his actions there. 8:01 to go, and the power play will come with Jack Willett, the freshman, going to the sin bin. Second power play of the day for Lewiston. They could not cash in on the first one, but they came very close. And a goal here might just put them within reaching distance of that third straight trip to the title game.
Well, we said St. Dom's needed to play close to the vest and stay out of the penalty box, and here they are, late in the game.
Only the second penalty tonight. They've done a good job of not taking the penalties, for which they have been known for, which has been quite a lot of heavy hits handed out against rival teams, either EL or Lewiston, when perhaps they ought not. But now just the second power play. Can Lewiston cash in? Wilson from the point, fires, stopped and held in the breadbasket by Fuchsa.
I think he got a good look at it. There was nobody there to tip it, and that makes a difference for him.
La Rochelle was trying to set up to the side of the net. Ben Gosselin had him tied up, so he couldn't really interfere with his goaltender's vision. Only took, though, 21 seconds off the power play time. Off the draw, won by Robert. Wilson to the right point. Goes across for Bossy. Scored once. He fires again. Took a touch off Pelletier's skate and angled just wide. La Rochelle set up in front. Pelletier trying to move him out of the way and does so. The bomb caught the blocker there of Fuchsa on the way by as Robert let it go. They'll go across for Wilson. Again, Gosselin gets in there. That should be goaltender interference with La Rochelle in the crease. Fuchsa makes it a moot point as he hangs on.
He's looking at the official saying, what are you looking at? Didn't you see that?
And the official pointing at Gosselin and saying, you're keeping him from exiting the crease, but it doesn't matter. If the player skates in there of his own volition, it's goaltender interference. That should not account for anything. Faceoff will come at the right side circle. Off the draw, it goes back to the point for Bossy. He'll fire! Oh, and that one just missed. Back it comes to the near side. Robert puts it across. Bossy stopped and held in between the pads. Fuchsa with his biggest one. Oh, and La Rochelle. A little extracurricular after the fact there on Zach Pelletier.
Yeah, really, after the whistle, I thought. So, no call.
Don't know how that one got missed by our officiating crew tonight, but it'll stay 5-on-4. Faceoff will come to the far side circle. La Rochelle being sent back to his team bench. Robert in for the draw with 7:05 to go. On the tie-up, he knocks it back to the point. Bossy takes a long look. He'll fire, just missed on the glove side. Wilson able to keep in here on the right point. He looks across. Bossy, he'll try again. Low, touched off the pad as Wade had a deflection, and it comes out for Hughes, who ushers clear and gives his team a break with 45 seconds to go in the penalty kill. 6:45 to go in the game. Tie becoming a factor. Lewiston Blue Devils with a 1-0 lead. Lewiston, two-time defending state champions, and they're trying to make it 3 straight if they can win tonight and go one step further and win the title game on Saturday. First, though, they've got to see this one out. And speaking of out of the zone, it goes down the ice from St. Dom's with 25 ticks left in the power play time.
They're going to bring a new group in.
Partial line change. They'll bring La Rochelle back out. They've got Cox and LeBlond as the other forwards. Angled up the left side boards. Now to Cox up the middle. He drives around Wolverton from that sharp angle. No room for a shot this time, but he'll swivel it in front off a pair of skates. That was Gosselin. It went behind, but Fuchsa was watching for it. 2 seconds to go, and no, LeBlond could not get a touch on that chance in front. Back to 5-on-5 we go as Willett comes across to the bench to make the change, and Webster will come on. Puck will come to him, and he'll blast it down the boards. It got past Owen Cox, and that is going to be icing with 5:46 to go. So now time really starting to become a factor. You might start to see St. Dom's gamble a little bit more and try to push for the equalizer at the risk of giving up another one themselves.
Pinch their defense a little bit maybe, and maybe try the long stretch pass.
Off the tie up here. Shot from the far circle. Didn't go from Dion as he missed it. Tapped through the legs by Zach Pelletier, but it's tied up there. Came back to Dion, who tries to angle it off the boards. Still it comes to him. He'll send it all the way around this time. Michael Silly gets to it. Plays it off the boards. Chassis lost it. Wilson shot. Covered up by Fuchsa. Doesn't like to take chances, the Czech goaltender. He likes to hang on to it whenever he gets the opportunity to.
Slow the other team down. Keep everybody from scurrying around, trying to make something happen.
Off the draw here. Comes to the near side boards. Wolverton, nice work to at least keep that one alongside. Poked away from Ridgefield, and here's Chassie, who can fly. Dangles past one, trying to race around Wilson. Couldn't as the poke check got him. Throws it in front. Score! St. Dom's has tied it with 5:10 to go on the redirection in front from Jaden Webster. Game on at the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum.
Beautiful pass by Chassie and great hustle by Webster to get himself in position for the tip in. Wow, that's as pretty as it gets right there.
9:50 the time of the goal in period number 3. They needed one. They've got one. Is it enough to send this to overtime, or do we have another twist in the tail to go? Webster with his 7th goal of the season, and none bigger than that one for the sophomore forward. Excellent play, it has to be said, by Dominic Chassie, who did all the hard work down the left to beat Jaden Wilson to the puck, beat Ridgefield through the legs, and then set up a perfect pass to the right-handed shooting Webster to tip home. On the breakout, though, Lewiston coming in with Cox. Puck poked away from him, and it's angled back to center in the St. Dom student section, off to across the point, the way from us on our right side of the broadcast position. They are as happy as clams. Puck forced away, thrown to the front of the net. Fuchso will stop it with the stick in cover as it was angled past Silly.
Yeah, Fuchso wants a penalty, and anybody that skates by him when he freezes the puck.
He is very aware of those Lewiston players. Unless he gets a solid bump in the crease, he's not going to get it, but he will keep bugging the officials in their ear.
Yeah, you know, you never know, you may get one.
Face-off will come with St. Laurent. He forces it back to the point. Shot through distance is wide. Frechette getting to it. 3 of the 6 goals against St. Dom's in the first 2 meetings he scored, as this one's redirected wide by St. Laurent on a touch in front. Wolverton trying to get it clear. Forced away, and it's La Rochelle who angles it back to the point for Wilson. He'll shovel it right back down below. St. Laurent tied up by 2. Willett has him hog-tied. Puck came loose, though, in front, underneath the glove, and a little justice delivered by Fuchsa himself, as he'll go in there for the slash. If the referees don't want to deal with it, he'll take matters into his own hands.
Yeah, a little retaliation there. Got away with it.
Face-off will come from the right wing circle here with 4:05 remaining in the frame. Alex Robert in for the draw against Mac Pelletier. On the face-off, it's tied up, still in between those pair of skates. They're still kicking at it. Finally, it comes free. Mac Pelletier lost a glove in the process on his right hand. He will play without. Forced to the front of the net. Snapshot from Evan Cox went wide. He goes back to the point. Hughes read it, and he'll get this one clear. No icing, as it was perfectly placed to the corner. Wilson has to play it. This one might come to Pelletier. Trying to keep in, could not. And it should be icing against Lewiston. 3:39 to go in the third period, and back and forth we go. And this one
you can feel the
like
tension,
a close
can't
tie.
you? You can feel the tension right now.
Momentum has swung St. Dom's way, but Lewiston threatening all game and still out shooting the Saints 34-16. Still looks more likely to score what would be a game winner. But will it happen in regulation?
The last 4 or 5 minutes, I think the Saints have outskated Lewiston.
Bossy plays this one long. And they're going to say no icing, as they rule that Willett probably could have played it. It's taken away by Fuchsa. He'll angle up himself, and this one gets to center. Webster runs over Robert. And he gives him an extra shove on the way down there. That should not be gotten away with, but the officials let them play on. They've let the players try and decide this one. You can say that for this crew. They've made sure they've stayed consistent through the game, as this one is sent down for icing with 3:08 to go.
Yeah, both teams now, when in doubt, they're just firing it down and taking a face-off. And eventually that's going to come back to haunt somebody. You're going to get a face-off in your defensive zone, and somebody's going to put one in.
This has been a hard-hitting, grinded-out style defensive trench warfare game, befitting of the rivalry after these two teams met twice in the regular season. Out to center ice it comes. Silly, caught from behind there, lost possession. Forced back away through the neutral zone. Frechette tied up. Puck came free. Pelletier on the rush. Puts it out wide for Lewis, who will send it deep with under 3 minutes remaining. Pelletier, fresh legs, able to get in there behind. Owen Cox, nice job to stay with him. Forced up the far side. Wade Didn't get a lot on it, but he'll leave it up ice to be played by La Rochelle. Finds Frechette up the right wing side against Wolverton. Plays it back in front. Save made. Fuchsa reaching across with his glove. Got a piece on the way by. Back to Owen Cox. Shot tipped. Went wide of the blocker's side this time. Beautiful setup for Gunnar Wade in front. Frechette will try it again. Owen Cox looking across. Wilson has room. Fires. Blocked in front. Mac Pelletier got in the way. 2:20 to go. Back to the point, they'll try again. Wilson under pressure. Stick check by Hughes. 2-on-2 the other way with Lewis. Tired group though. Lewis, nice move to pick it up after Hughes did the hard work. Comes free for him. Shot tied up. Lewis unhappy that he didn't pick up an interference. Minor the other way as he gets shoved over from Wade. But again, the referee's not going to call anything here unless it's very blatant with 2 minutes to go. Turnover. Chassis down the middle. Missed it, gets it back. Albert the save up front. Biggest one he's had to make tonight. That could have sealed it for the Saints. Cleared long, maybe icing, maybe not. Evan Cox is there, but it is behind the goal line.
I have not seen Lewiston panic like I've seen these last about 3 minutes. They're dumping the puck out. They're not making their passes. That's a tribute to St. Dom's and what they've done to put the pressure on the Devils.
They might be the two-time defending state champs, but for so many players, like we've talked about before, this is new territory. Even with 19 upperclassmen, a lot of them did not skate many minutes, if at all, in those 2 title runs by a very different-looking Lewiston roster. It's been a very different group, a much harder time this year for Jamie Bello. The wins have still been there. They just haven't been as easy to come by. This might be very impressive from him if he can get this group back to a 3rd straight title game. But the St. Dom's Saints, their bitter rivals, pushing them right to the brink. Back to neutral ice. Owen Cox will skate to his own end. He'll play it across for Bossy. 60 seconds to go in regulation. Chassis plays this one up the far side boards. Picked up there by Bossy. He will loft it deep. Bouncing puck got past Fuchsa, but it was well to the corner. He wasn't worried. And Gosselin will set up for the rush. Fires long. Tipped on there. Nice job from Hughes, who has played one heck of a game tonight for the junior forward, it has to be said. Only 3 goals on the season, but he has had some big chances develop. Gosselin takes a bump. Could be a 4-on-2 coming in. Wilson fires. Fuchsa the save, and he holds on with 30 ticks of the clock to play.
Again, they have 4-on-3, but a good opportunity for a drop pass and a screen. And Lewiston took the shot directly. And like I say, from out there, Fuchs is going to stop those. So a little uncharacteristic of Lewiston tonight.
Over on the St. Dom's bench, player trying to retrieve a mouth guard. That's Wolverton, who just says, I don't need it, never mind. Zach Pelletier, though, will help him out. He's got the better hand-eye coordination. Well, a timeout appears to have been taken here. The Lewiston Blue Devils want to draw something up with 29.7 seconds left to try and win it right here, right now.
They've got a face-off down in the St. Dom's end. They're going to give their top players a little rest. They're going to bring them back, and they'll have something off this face-off, some sort of a pass and a chance for a tip. I would say they'll probably try to get at the Bossy at the point, see if he can let one go and get Frechette or Robert in front for a tip.
Let's recap how we got you here. St. Dom's Saints, the number 3 seed in Class A North, had to win a first-round game, which they did as they knocked off the Grey New Gloucester Levitt co-op squad and then shut out their other rivals in this Lewiston-Auburn area, the Edward Little Red Eddies. That got them to this game. Lewiston took care of Bangor 5-2 in the last round. Here tonight, only a couple of goals. Ryan Bossy scoring 9:57 into period number 1, his 4th of the year on an assist from Owen Cox. While then with 9:50 played in the 3rd period, St. Dom's tied it up on a beautiful redirection from Webster on the centering feed from Dominic Chassis. We are 30 seconds from overtime. Lewiston off the timeout, trying to draw up a play. Alongside Dave Wing, I'm Caleb Lamb as we get things ready to go. One back to Bossy. Across they come. One-timer from Evan Cox, and his stick broke in the process to let him down. Chipped long and into the St. Dom's bench. That one ends up with 19.4 seconds to go, and that was not what Lewiston was looking for.
No, you know, they had him where he wanted him. It was a great diagonal pass, and he had the open slap shot, and it just snapped his stick in two. But firing the puck into the bench area gets Lewiston another shot at this.
The lumber let him down. Evan Cox will be on the bench for this one. They've put out La Rochelle, Robert, and Frechette. They're 3 most story forwards from the team from last year. And they switch spots. Frechette will be on the right, La Rochelle on the left, but that was too late. So Robert tossed. Frechette will come in for it. One backed by Pelletier, and this one's cranked around but not out. Nice move by Robert. From the left wing side, fires. Steve Meade, rebound in close, sticked away. Came through the middle. Wilson drives, went wide with 7 seconds to go. Bossy from the half wall, save, thrown in front again. Fuchs the stop, and we are going to overtime.
I say St. John's got what they want. What do you think, Caleb?
Well, in sudden death hockey, you take the best goaltender, and St. Thomas has that in spades on their end of the ice.
No question about that.
They will take 3 minutes in the company of their coaches, and then we will play OT. We'll take a quick break ourselves and be back in 2 minutes to get things going for you. You're watching it on MBR.org and listening to live coverage of the Class A North Regional Championship game on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
Falmouth Orthopedic Center, Central Maine Orthopedics, OA Centers for Orthopedics, all playing on the same team. Maine's top orthopedic practices have joined forces for more efficient and affordable orthopedic care. Introducing Spectrum Orthopedics.
For 37 years, the Bowles family has been selling Napa Auto Parts in Hancock County. And every February, they make the trip to Bangor, Portland, and Augusta to cheer on the local basketball teams. And with their new Napa Auto Parts stores in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford, they have some new teams to cheer for. Like the kids out on the court, the Bowles family understands that doing business takes teamwork and dedication. Whether you're getting a belt for your sled, running a garage, or keeping your car and truck in tip-top shape, they're here to help. Visit your locally owned Napa Auto Parts in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford today.
All aboard MBR.org, the place to get all your high school and amateur sports news and information. MBR.org is in high gear with Maine high school winter sports. Go to MBR.org to chat about your favorite team. Find the latest articles, travel news, and cancellations. Or visit their all-new and very popular team pages. MBR.org has everything you want to know about high school and amateur sports in Maine. Coming in February, all the high school tournament action at your fingertips 24/7. It's high school sports heaven. All aboard MBR.org.
That you hear back inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum. We are ready to get overtime started. 1-1 at the end of regulation. And we saw the St. Thomas Saints come storming back from a 1-goal deficit with 5 minutes to play. They tied it up. Now, as they start OT for 8 minutes.
8 minutes, and then they'll make ice, and then we'll come back.
If need be.
If need be,
We have already seen double overtime needed out of the South region when Biddeford emerged victorious 6-5 over Cheverus. Which of these two teams will go to meet them in the state title game on Saturday? We're underway. St. Dom's in the black and white, attacking from left to right. And that one was touched into the bench area there. Here we get set to go with a face-off won by Lewiston. Down the right wing side they come. Played in here, and this one's forced around behind the net, where it'll be sent back to the left point for Wilson. He fires a shot that's broken up. Fired from distance and missed wide on the far side. Played around back to the point for Bossy from the right. He'll fire. Save made in front. Perhaps did not get all the way through, and LeBlanc finds it to shuffle to the goal line. Trying to feed in front. LeBron from the left wing side. LeBlanc bumped off the puck. Pelletier watching that one get sent behind him. Comes out through center. Lewis will just spin a backhander down the ice. Forced away through center as Gunnar Wade was caught reaching for it. Couldn't come up with it. Fired out through the neutral zone. Bossy stops it at center. He'll send it in. Gosselin picks it up. Takes a look up through center. Zach Pelletier. 3-on-2 into the zone. St. Dom's played to the front of the net. Shot, save, rebound. Oh, it was put wide. Webster with the goal at his mercy. missed by inches, and we're still playing. Silly shot, blocked. Wade for Frechette. 2-on-1 coming in. Gunnar Wade fires, scores! And Lewiston breaks the hearts of St. Dom's.
Wow.
The Blue Devils have a shot at 3 in a row. They win it 2-1.
Wow, we had almost a goal at the other end to end it, and now a goal to end it.
The
Wow.
most dramatic way you'll see a game end here. Heartbreak for the St. Dom's Saints. Dominic Chassey's shot stopped off the left pad of Albert. Webster got the rebound, but the man who tied the score just missed on the short side, and the 2-on-1 the other way. Gunnar Wade, the senior, scores his 3rd of the season, putting it topside over the blocker of Fuchsa, who is stunned and collapsed on the St. Dom's bench. Fans start to file out, but this one tonight was well worth the wait, and the Lewiston Blue Devils survive to get a shot at the three-peat against the Biddeford Tigers.
Yeah, you know, I think Frechette really racing down the ice on the other side helped with the goal, because Fuchsia had to wonder about, are they going to pass it across, and so on.
Perfect shot by Gunnar Wade, who held his nerve. And the senior leadership comes up trumps over the underclassmen youthful exuberance of the St. Dom's Saints. And what a tough pill to swallow it is. 1:28 into overtime, and this one ends. Felt like one of those games that was going to come down to this. Someone was going to take a chance to win it. The Saints finally got a 3-forward entry into the zone.
Really.
Their first odd man rush, it felt like all game, and they nearly scored on it. Tough luck for Jaden Webster, who will take nothing against his game tonight. He did all the hard work just to put his team into OT. And then on the other side, Gaston Fuchsa, 39 shots was one too many. 37 saves from the young man, and the foreign exchange student out of the Czech Republic nearly dragged this young, understaffed squad out of St. Dom's all the way to the title game. They come up 1 inch short.
Yeah, and he's getting a good handshake from everybody from Lewiston and some hugs. They know how well he played, and he made a difference.
Gunnar Wade with a beautiful effort it was. He forced the puck away from Silly, avoided the hip check, and then coming in, he had Sam Frechette, much more experienced scorer. 12 goals, a total of 25 points on that man's stick. The man who had 23 in 18 games last year to help lead his team to a title. Instead, he stepped to the plate himself and did not miss from the short inside as he went right under the bar over the right shoulder of Fuchsa. Heartbreaking fashion to have this game decided, but jubilation for the Lewiston Blue Devils, who have won this game. It wasn't pretty at times, but this team 18-2, and they will have a shot at doing what no squad has done since the Lewiston School team of 82-84, which is win 3 Maine titles in a row. They'll go through the awards now. We'll keep it here to do so as we wrap up coverage for you of this one. It has been one heck of a season. We've had a lot of coverage for you on MBR and of course on WEZR of coverage of these contests, with featuring the Lewiston Blue Devils, the St. Dom's Saints, the Edward Little Red Eddies, and this triumvirate of teams did not disappoint all season, Dave, and we've got one more game to go before we put a cap on the winter sports season.
No, it's been fun to watch how they progressed. We talked before, this Blue Devil squad, 2-time defending state champions, they lost, I think we counted 13 or 14 players off last year's squad, all good players, and still have come back to play for the state championship for the 3rd time in a row.
They go through the runner-up medals to give out to the St. Dom's players. One by one, they'll come and collect them. Another year, another loss to Lewiston in the playoffs that ends their season. This time around, 1 game short of the state title game, and the wait will continue for Title 25. In nearly 20 years since a team has got it done, this team will feel the sting of heartbreak sort of similar to what happened to that senior-laden squad of 2015, falling in overtime to Scarborough. This one was in overtime, one step shy of that, but it'll sting just as much. And a little extra rub to it is that it comes against their rivals from across town.
Yeah, they've got nothing to be ashamed of. They won't feel that way, but with a young squad, I mean, you wouldn't have figured that they could stay with Lewiston with this many freshmen and sophomores playing big roles. They're not just on the team. They're getting regular shifts and playing key roles for this team.
Look how many players stepped up when they were called upon to play big minutes. Jack Willett and Derek Wolverton especially, the young defenseman who took huge strides forward, earning more and more ice time, and was huge tonight going one-on-one against vastly more experienced forwards on the other side. And he came up trumps in the majority of them. Noah Pratt logging some good ice time in that Edward Little shutout. And then just your other players, Ryan Davis, a junior, he'll return. Michael Silly, the sophomore, and Ben Goslin, the senior statesman of this group, who did such a great job. He'll be the next man called up to receive the medal. Lucas Pouchard heads back to the lineup. Young forward who will get another good year of experience as an underclassman next season. And they've also got Dominic Chassie, Jaden Webster, sophomore Jacob Lewis, sophomore Zach Pelletier, Hunter Hughes, Matthew Fletcher, and of course, they'll get Will Fletcher back as well to be able to all have another year under their belts and take another crack at this as they give the hugs handed out to the goaltenders now. Gaston Fuchsa from this squad knows exactly how much he meant to him. This was a team that was going to have to rebuild at so many positions, Dave. They lost Noah Toussaint, they lost their leader, and they lost their goaltender, Kyle Welsh. And it was going to be a very new-look team, even if they didn't lose that many players, just from the huge experience that they lost. And then a player that was a little bit unknown, that they didn't know what to expect from. Heard that they had a good goaltender in town, did Bobby Parker. I don't think he could have possibly imagined he would be as good as he was. And you can't forget about Mac Pelletier, the senior captain, who goes and collects the plaque. Pelletier, the Travis A. Roy Award finalist, leader of this young team behind him, and the lone senior did everything he could to try and take this team to a title game.
You got the plaque that nobody wants, and that's sad.
Nothing that this team will be disappointed about in terms of their effort. It'll obviously sting
when they
to fall
back,
short.
When they look back at this in a couple of weeks, they're going to feel pretty good about the year they had with all those young kids. I mean, think about it.
They will finish 10-9-2 overall. The St. Dom Saints is now the Lewiston Blue Devils start to go through the line here.
Normally at this level, Class A, you don't see any freshmen. I mean,
it's true.
They play maybe a marginal role. Their freshmen played a key role all game long, all season long.
Just look at this Lewiston squad. No freshmen on their roster compared to St. Dom's is 6. And as they go through the defensemen here, Ryan Bossiu picked up the winner's medal. Huge he was today as he goes through the handshake line. And a well-deserved finalist for that Travis A. Roy Award as well, based on what he was able to do. Fantastic season that he's had, and was able to score that goal that was so crucial. Seemed like it was going to be enough, but it took one more, and it was Gunnar Wade who was able to do it in overtime to make that happen. Evan Cox, who's chance to try and win it in regulation right at the end with a failed snap of his twig in half on the one-time attempt. But he was very big for his team this year with 10 goals to help keep that offensive production up for a team that now has scored 93 times in their 20 games. Cam Dion, huge against Bangor, as he had a 2-goal performance to help lead them to the 5-2 victory. And just down this roster for Lewiston, Jamie Bello, knowing that it was going to take some improvement from his squad, it was going to be a little bit of an unknown year, but they still had those high expectations. And it's always difficult to win back-to-back, let alone back-to-back-to-back championships at the high school level when you don't get to keep the same players around for more than their 4 years of eligibility. But this group of kids, some of whom had been underclassmen on those championship squads, others who had been on the JV level, have been able to come together to form a team that is perhaps a little bit different, perhaps not quite as skilled as the ones from 2 years ago, but they have reached the same point, and they have done that under the leadership of Jamie Bello, who's going to look for another title. And it's a little bit sweeter always for this group when they can knock off a rival and keep them out of the title game on the way to it.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, through the years, we've seen a lot of these rival games when we get to this part of the year, because they're usually in the mix.
And now they'll call up to receive the medal the man who came up with some big-time stops to go through and get his team to this point. He kicked the puck away in overtime and then watched the puck slide by to safety. Conrad Albert, who made the stops, 16 of them, was all he needed to get his team to the win. They go through and congratulate the rest of the players as well. Chad Lynch, along with that group with Ryan Pomerleau and some of those players, Tyler Marcoux, that would make up the fourth line minutes. John Mathon, defenseman who logged good ice time against Bangor. And of course, the man who was a thorn in the side of St. Thomas all season long, drawing attention on that 2-on-0 at the end of the overtime that before the goal went in, and scoring 3 times in those 2 regulation meetings, Sam Frechette. And now they'll call over the 2 captains. Alex Robert taking up the mantle, a sophomore last year. He was tied for 3rd most goals on the team of very talented individuals, and Ryan Bossy, who anchored this defense, and Dustin La Rochelle, who did such a great job as the alternate captain. Those 3 come forward to accept the plaque. But this is not the one they want. They'll show it off, but the one they really want to celebrate is going to come in about 5 days' time. We've got a Saturday date for the matchup against the Biddeford Tigers that we will have right here for you. 6 p.m. You can book your calendars now. That's going to wrap up coverage of this one tonight. Again, your goal scorers for Lewiston: Ryan Bossy and the OT winner Gunnar Wade on either side of that game-tying goal, the very key one from Jaden Webster, as Lewiston continues their march towards a three-peat. They win it 2-1 in overtime to improve to 18-2. They go through the picture below us. And for my wonderful crew, thanks to our producer back in the studio, Alex, Tyler on the camera, Mike Perot, our producer on site, and of course, my wonderful broadcast partner, the coach, Dave Wing. I'm Caleb Lamb saying so long from the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum. The Lewiston Blue Devils are going to the state title game. We'll see you then. You can listen to coverage of it on Saturday against the Biddeford Tigers right here on 105.5 WEZR.